Chapter 601, Second Team's Construction, 3. Chapter 601, Second Team's Construction, 3. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. However, its growth speed is definitely inferior to Susu. This way, the danger can always be maintained in a controllable range. When it can ignore the influence of the abyssal demon duck one day, escape from it, control it, and live its own life, I'll give it freedom. Now, be a good fighter and experimental material. Nink. Susu's eyes lit up. It promised to cleanse the duckbill beast into a good duck. At that time, they would cooperate from the inside and attack the Abyss Sea. Woo, woo, ye? The other pets looked at each other and fell into deep thought, instantly imagining a scene. When the Abyss Sea revived again, under the lead of the Abyss Demon Duck and the Duck God, it was just about to fight the guardian of the Blue Sea Sprite to the death. Suddenly, the Abyss Demon Duck directly betrayed the Abyss, and became the #1 lackey of the Blue Sea Sprite. Abyss Sea, why are you attacking us, Your Majesty? Quack! Just as Shiyu and the others were harboring ill intentions, duck cries came from the other side again. Quack! Kill or stew, do it quickly. Swoosh! Seeing this, Eleven and Baby Ginseng directly untied the restraints and cage, making Ducky widen its eyes in confusion. Cough! Shiyu looked at it solemnly and said, just like what you've experienced, there's an evil existence that wants to possess you and replace your will. It's our true enemy, and also your enemy. And you're innocent. You don't want to be its puppet, right? The enemy of an enemy is a friend. In that case, how about we help you become stronger and get rid of it? Shiyu stretched out his hand and said, from today onwards, we're comrades. Woo! Woo! Yee! Mi! Nink! Duckbeak Beast? Looking at the group of people who suddenly changed their expressions, Duck fell into deep thought. Although it didn't know what was going on, it seemed like it didn't have to die. Next, Shiyu and the others tricked the Duckbeak Beast for several hours. Throughout the whole process, the duck's expression was especially serious. Shiyu was right at the start. Even if the Duckbeak Beast was really the reincarnation of the abyssal demon duck, so what? As an independent will, who wanted the will of their previous life to replace their current self? If it were anyone else, they probably wouldn't admit that they were still themselves in their previous life. This was also why the inheritance mechanism of the Blue Sea Sprite only inherited the will and racial skills to protect the sea and not the memories. Of course, this was only the inheritance mechanism of the Blue Sea Sprite. It didn't mean that all pets would start again after reincarnation. For example, Zhongxian had said that after its reincarnation, it might awaken its memories. As for the Undying Dark Phoenix, it was actually a reincarnation. It also retained its memories. Therefore, Shiyu and the others couldn't say for sure if the Duckbill Beast would awaken the memories of the Abyss Demon Duck later. From the perspective of the Duckbill Beast, it was very unwilling to let some Abyss Demon Duck replace it. Therefore, although it had experienced humiliation at the hands of Shiyu and the others, after several hours of brainwashing, the Duckbill Beast understood. In the end, if it didn't listen, it would definitely be made into soup. Then it chose to follow Shiyu and the others to cultivate and strive to control its fate. That's right. Seeing that the Duckbill Beast was so smart, Shiyu was very satisfied. From today onwards, Duck was a member of his team. Well, the mechanical tyrant dragon had been working hard for so long. In addition, it might still be studied for a period of time and had invested a lot of resources. That mechanical tyrant dragon was also one of the members of the second team. Shiyu temporarily didn't plan to contract or add points to them, but he would use other methods to help them grow. The mechanical tyrant dragon naturally grew, became stronger, and evolved through continuous mechanical experiments. As for the Duckbill Beast, the growth process was the process of constantly controlling the power of the Abyss Demon Duck in his previous life. The upper limit of the mechanical tyrant dragon's growth depended on the upper limit of Ling, while the upper limit of the Duckbill Beast's growth was at the demigod level. Therefore, in the end, the potential of the two of them was probably not bad. After Shiyu decided to start the second team, his mood was especially good. Alright, the team was going to be lively again. The mechanical tyrant dragon finally had a companion. Otherwise, Shiyu would feel quite apologetic that the mechanical tyrant dragon had always been incompatible with other pets. Now, it could make friends. It was indeed lively. As a member of the second team, the address of the duck-beak beast was built beside the address of the mechanical tyrant dragon by Shiyu and the others. Perhaps it was because they didn't get along, or perhaps it was because they had just fought, but when the two pets met, their eyes were especially red. Roar! I am the overlord of the earth. Quack! Earth? Earth belongs to the ocean. The duckbill beast wearing the translator Ling glared at it. It finally knew what this guy was talking about. No wonder it was so unhappy with this guy. The duckbill beast's territorial awareness was very strong. Under the influence of its previous life's will, its greatest obsession at the moment seemed to be transforming the ground into its own territory, water territory. Buzz! Swoosh! The earth-yellow sharp blade and the water-blue sharp blade were condensed by the two pets. Roar! Space-splitting sword! Quack! Water blade! Boom! In the distance, smoke rose. Shiyu fell into deep thought. The relationship is so good. Ling, look after the mechanical tyrant dragon. Susu, look after the duck-beak beast. As long as nothing happens. Roger. Ling nodded. Nink. Susu also nodded. Rather than saying it was Shiyu's second team, it was more like it was Ling and Susu's little brother. An ancient phantom beast Jr., an abyss demigod Jr. Beside him, 11, Buggy, Kai Tong, and baby Ginseng revealed envious expressions. Clone skills felt different from underlings with their own will. Am I? After thinking about it, Kai Tong decided to kill an undead puppet that retained its will later and join the big family of the mechanical tyrant dragon and the abyssal demon duck as its sidekick. Yi? Baby Ginseng pondered for a moment and shook its head. Forget it, forget it. It should work hard to become the number one in the team first. At that time, it could directly let Buggy be its underling and form a dimensional reduction attack on Susu and Ling. Woo! 11 also looked at Buggy. It had the same thought. What kind of underling was better and more functional than a tool worm? Buggy? Bastard! It was Team 1. Stop thinking about squeezing it into Team 2. Chapter 602, Beauty Trap from the Seven Islands, 1. Chapter 602, Beauty Trap from the Seven Islands, 1. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Seven Islands Region, Star Wilderness Island, Bonfire Village. This was an ordinary village. There were a total of 3 professional beast tamers in the village, and the highest level was only an intermediate beast tamer. Even if such a village faced the invasion of commander-level ferocious beasts, it would quickly become ruins without external help. And today, a super ferocious beast that stood above Transcendent, Commander, Monarch, and even Overlord descended on this place. Meowtilda found it. Standing on the roof, a creature with a wedge-shaped head and dark eyelids covered its blue eyes swung its long and fluffy tail in boredom, calling out to someone. At the same time, its gaze kept sizing up the altar in the abandoned area of the village. I found the Space Emperor altar, but it looks broken. Who knows if it can still be used? Found it? Double joy. Another figure quickly appeared. He sat in the house and said, "By the way, Teacher Cat, I've also figured out the origin of that duck just now." The gem cat turned around. Who? What? It asked with interest. So it's edible? Shiyu chuckled. In its previous life, it was the demigod lord of the Abyss Sea, the embodiment of pollution and radiation. Are you sure you want to eat it? It's all right if you have diarrhea. I'm afraid you'll mutate into an abyss demon cat. What? The gem cat shouted with a shocked expression. Wait, demigod overlord of the Abyss Sea. What a joke! It widened her gem eyes and looked at Shiyu. However, how did he come up with such a low-level name like Abyss Demon Cat? I'm not kidding. I'm thinking that if we can apply for a large number of cultivation resources with the Blue Sea Sprite, how much can we apply for to modify this duck? The Environmental Protection Department Shiyu, Susu, and the Guardian Kachiying. After countless hardships and life-and-death crises, they subdued the boss of the Abyss Sea. This achievement is a good start for the Environmental Protection Department, Shiyu muttered. Its performance was better than the other 13 bureaus. It wasn't too much to get a promotion and a raise, right? There's credit for me too? The Gem Cat was stunned and revealed a knowing expression. Forget it, let's take a look at this egg first. Shiyu took out the Space Beast egg. He looked at the Space Emperor ruins the Gem Cat had found. Wait, tell me about the duck first. The Gem Cat was angry. He was just leaving it halfway. What exactly is going on? Ah. Shiyu scratched his cheek. Speak. Shiyu sighed and told the Gem Cat about the reincarnation fruit. Shiyu was actually unwilling to tell the Gem Cat about the reincarnation fruit. The reason was very simple. As expected, just as Shiyu finished speaking, the Gem Cat's eyes lit up. It instantly forgot about the Abyss Demon Duck and said, "Tell me, I'm so powerful. Could it be that in my previous life, I was a half-god empress and also the king of totems? I even left me many precious treasures in my previous life." The Gem Cat felt that the possibility was very high. After all, it was too special as a Gem Cat. Other Gem Cats could only use one gem to evolve and could only evolve once. As for it, it could use many pieces to constantly evolve without limit. No matter how one looked at it, it was very unscientific. Even if it was a mutation, there had to be a reason. In its previous life, being a big boss was a possibility. The Gem Cat revealed a shining gaze and felt that its demigod path was on this reincarnation fruit. "No," Shiyu said, "I'm afraid you were also a villain in your previous life. If you eat the reincarnation fruit and can't control yourself, I'll be finished." The Gem Cat, give me one, give me one. I can control myself. Don't you believe in my will?" Shiyu shook his head crazily and very quickly. Yes, he didn't believe it. This half-god reincarnation had its own overlord will, but this... Shiyu said, "We'll talk about it when I become a legendary beast tamer and can suppress totems with a flip of my hand." The Gem Cat? This guy wanted to suppress it. To be precise, the Space Emperor ruins was at the edge of a dilapidated altar. After the Gem Cat isolated a large area from its perception of this place, Shiyu came here with the egg. According to the parchment, as long as the Starry Sky egg was placed in the groove of the altar, it would automatically activate the ruins array and let the egg absorb the starlight to accumulate the nutrients for hatching. Shiyu compared it to the altar and took a deep breath. He placed the Space Beast egg on it. According to the description, the normal reaction was that when the pet egg absorbed the power of the stars, a faint halo would spread. The absorption process would last 24 to 48 hours. After absorbing enough specific nutrients, the light would dim and stop absorbing. Therefore, after putting the pet egg on it, Shiyu was very nervous. He was afraid that the altar would break, that the egg wouldn't light up, or that the egg had already become a bad guy and couldn't be absorbed normally. After all, it had been so long. Crack! Shiyu and the Gem Cat beside him stopped breathing and looked at the Space Beast egg nervously. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. A few seconds later, a weak halo spread from the white striped pet egg. White and purple intertwined. It can be used. Seeing this, Shiyu was overjoyed. His expression was filled with surprise. "I feel better, I feel better." When the Gem Cat saw this, it said, "I mean, is there a possibility that when the time comes, 3 altars can be used, but the last altar can't be used, causing the hatching progress of the egg to be stuck at 3/4? It can't hatch and becomes a useless egg. I don't like useless eggs." Chapter 603, Beauty Trap from the 7 Islands, 2. Chapter 603, Beauty Trap from the 7 Islands, 2. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Shiyu? Was this something a normal cat could care about? The Space Beast egg had successfully absorbed the first special star power. Shiyu's mood continued to be happy. As expected, hatching an egg was more exciting than knowing in advance. As he waited for the Space Beast egg to absorb the nutrients, Shiyu did not stay idle. He studied the Duckbill Beast with the Gem Cat. At the moment, the two skills of the Duckbill Beast, Water Blade and Heartstrike, were both above perfect level proficiency, close to transcendent. Their levels were very high. In comparison, the few skills of the Mechanical Tyrant Dragon were relatively lousy. They were all entry-level proficiency. In addition, the Duckbill Beast could use the Overlord's will. No wonder the Tyrant Dragon was suppressed by the transcendent Duckbill Beast. If it weren't for the fact that its race was stronger, it might have knelt very quickly. Today, it was rare for Ducky to join the team. Shiyu and Susu gave it a greeting gift. Cleansing Memory Water. It could help the Duckbill Beast learn, master, and increase its cleansing skill. After learning it, it could cleanse itself. As for Team 1, Shiyu was helpless. He had yet to recover from the temporary addition of the Heavenly Frost Cold energy. If he wanted to continue increasing Buggy and the others, he might have to wait a day. Heavenly Rainbow Island. Shiyu's quiet departure did not mean the end of the challenge on the path to champion. A new round of battle began. The next day, Dong Huang's Ji-Feng followed suit. Ji-Feng's strength was undoubtedly the strongest in the Dong Huang exchange team apart from a few legends and Shiyu. His appearance also made the Seven Islands curse continuously. It also swept through the first few levels as fiercely as Lu Bai. However, what made Seven Islands glad was that Ji-Feng wasn't that abnormal. After reaching the last few stages, his condition was clearly not as good as before. After all, his strength was established on the Myriad Affinity talent, and this talent would cause beast tamers to exhaust their physical strength in battle. But even so, because Ji-Feng was willing to change pets, he didn't have a single pet the whole time. He easily passed the first 8 levels until he arrived at the 9th level and faced the Demon Blade God. The Seven Islands were extremely solemn. Today, on the sky ship that was watching the championship path, apart from the original team from yesterday, another person came here. She was wearing a white and red witch suit. She had an oval face and exquisite and beautiful facial features. She had a beautiful black smooth hair style, and her red eyes were calmly looking at the young man below. Her name was Jie Yi of the Phoenix Court, a witch from the Phoenix Divine Shrine. She was currently ranked 3rd among the younger generation of the Seven Islands. Ji, your mission is to get close to the young man named Lu Bai in Dong Huang and get closer to him. In the eyes of the Seven Islands Association, a woman who could attract an outstanding young man like Lu Bai definitely had to be extremely outstanding. The disciple of a legendary beast tamer was also a quasi-legend. At the same time, the Phoenix Court, which had the Phoenix bloodline as a hybrid witch, was naturally the best choice. The higher-ups of the Seven Islands knew very well that the people of Dong Huang worship dragons and phoenixes very much. In their opinion, if they let the Phoenix Court come into contact with Lu Bai would definitely fall into it. After all, because of mixed blood, the Phoenix Court's appearance was also top-notch on the Seven Islands. However, it was a pity that Lu Bai didn't appear at the competition venue today. This person's strength is not bad either. Jie Yi looked at Ji-Feng below and fell into deep thought. So how strong was Lu Bai, who instantly cleared 10 levels? She wanted to see it. In the end, Ji-Feng from Dong Huang barely defeated the number 1 person below the legends of the Seven Islands, the Demon Blade God era, again stimulating the nerves of the Seven Islands. However, at this point, Ji-Feng no longer had the strength to challenge the Overlord. His challenge ended here. The 3rd day. Zhu Yun of Dong Huang issued a challenge. As the first 2 contestants of Dong Huang were ridiculously abnormal, Heavenly King Zhu was targeted very badly. He only passed 7 levels and knelt at the 8th level. This made Tong Yang and the others feel disdain. It was also on this day that the Gem Cat and Shiyu secretly returned to the Dong Huang base in Tianhong City. They were considered to have recovered. Next, they could walk around casually. After sending a private message to Tyrannical Sea Legend and the others to tell them that he was back, Shiyu couldn't help but plan to take a walk as Lu Bai. He wasn't afraid that the Seven Islands would plot against him after discovering him. His trump card was never his strength. Nor was it this bodyguard, the Gem Cat. Instead, it was the demigod-level Dragon God protection on its body. At the moment, the Dragon God was the greatest rich woman and the thickest thigh. With this thing, safety was naturally guaranteed at the maximum level. However, Shiyu realized that he had underestimated the Seven Islands. On the Seven Islands, they had mobilized a method that even the Dragon God's protection couldn't stop. Shiyu had just left the Dong Huang base and was about to walk around when a red-eyed woman in a witch suit stopped in front of Shiyu. Lu Bai? Jie looked at the young man in front of her and smiled. I found you. You are. May I help you? Shiyu saw the beautiful witch in front of him and immediately became cautious. The words beauty trap appeared in Shiyu's heart. Not good. This Gem Cat and the Dragon God protection couldn't help him block it. It was time to test his willpower. Chapter 604, Beauty Trap from the Seven Islands, 3. Chapter 604, Beauty Trap from the Seven Islands, 3. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. 11 had obtained the Overlord's will by adding points. In theory, his willpower wouldn't be low after experiencing so much pain. Beast Tamer of the Seven Islands, Phoenix Court Jie. Level, Quasi-Legendary. Jie's red lips swayed slightly as she said, the higher-ups of the association asked me to approach you and build a good relationship with you. Shiyu? Initially, Shiyu was still thinking about how to reject the other party, but the moment the other party spoke, Shiyu couldn't do it anymore. She's showing her hand? How could she use a beauty trap like this? Did she know how to play? No, that wasn't right. Instinct told Shiyu that this girl's skill was very high. He had to be careful. Shiyu said with a pale face, cough, I'm sorry. I have an infectious disease and don't like to make friends. In the alternate space, the Gem Cat looked at the two people fighting and shook its head, happily munching on melon seeds. In the outside world, Jie was silent for a moment. He indeed looked sick. However, she smiled and said, it's all right. I have the Phoenix bloodline in my body. I'm immune to all diseases. Since I was young, there have been no diseases that can get close to me. Shiyu was slightly stunned. Wait a minute, Phoenix bloodline? Jie of the Phoenix Court said, I've heard of your deeds. If the higher-ups let me come into contact with others, I won't hesitate to tell them to get lost, but I'm still very interested in experts. Even I might not necessarily be able to clear the path of the champion. You're very strong, and most importantly, you're not ugly. Even as a future partner, I won't be very against the idea. How about it? Do you want to try getting to know each other? Shiyu's heart was like still water. He took a deep breath. If not for the fact that he had many female fans in Dong Huang and was already used to confessions, he would have been tempted. Shiyu was just about to reject her when the Phoenix Court's Jie said, by the way, isn't there a Mystic Realm crack in the bet between Dong Huang and the Seven Islands? I'm from the Phoenix God Shrine. Our divine temple has an unsolved Mystic Realm. Do you want to take a look? Although it's very difficult to crack, I think the Beast Tamer of Dong Huang will be very interested in the Mystic Realm of the Phoenix race, right? Apart from that, there are many interesting things on Phoenix Mountain. Shiyu was stunned. Phoenix Shrine? Shiyu looked at this witch. As expected, Phoenix bloodline, witch. He was wondering what was wrong. So, this guy's teacher was the legend of the Seven Islands who accidentally entered the Phoenix Mystic Realm? Shiyu fell into deep thought and silence. If she wanted to talk about this, it was a different story. However, did she know what it meant to play with fire and lure a wolf into the house? All right. Shiyu nodded and looked at the beautiful witch opposite him. But I have to wait for my companions. All right. Seeing that Shiyu had agreed, Jie Yi immediately understood that Shiyu still couldn't withstand her attack. After giving Shiyu an exploration mystic realm, Shiyu took the bait. At that time, as long as she provided some more information about the Phoenix Mystic Realm and strategies, Shiyu would definitely have a good impression of her +1+1+1+1. Unfortunately, the Phoenix Mystic Realm was destined to not be cracked by ordinary people. During this period of time, Shiyu and the others would waste it. Then it's decided. The Phoenix Court's Jie Yi smiled. Yes. In order to let this person leave faster, Shiyu immediately agreed. Then Jie Yi left, leaving Shiyu behind to think about life. He hoped that after tearing down the Phoenix Mystic Realm, this witch wouldn't transform into a witch and curse him. Soon after that day, the Tyrannical Sea Legend and the others returned from the Crown Rainbow Mountain Range. After returning, Tyrannical Sea Legend immediately met Shiyu alone. There's something wrong with you. As soon as they met, the Tyrannical Sea Legend widened his eyes and said, So, the greatest gain from your trip with Senior Ying is not that you gathered the energy of the Starry Sky Egg, but that you casually caught an Abyss Demigod reincarnation. Yes, Shiyu said. My luck is really good. Tyrannical Sea Legend? He opened his mouth slightly. What was this? Shiyu, this kid. This couldn't be attributed to luck anymore, right? Was he some mythical creature that cultivated luck? Shiyu smiled in embarrassment. Let's talk about this when we return to Dong Huang. The main problem now is still business. Business in the Seven Islands. The corners of the Tyrannical Sea Legend's mouth twitched. It felt like even if the reason they came here didn't work out, this trip would not be a loss. By the way, the surveillance cameras at the base today captured the vicinity of the Phoenix Court's Jie Yi. They captured your contact with her. Did something happen between the two of you? Legend Sea Tyrant took a deep breath and temporarily forgot about the Abyss Demon Duck Shiyu mentioned and talked to Shiyu about business. She's the personal disciple of the legendary beast tamer who accidentally entered the Phoenix Mystic Realm. Both of them are dedicated to cracking the Phoenix Mystic Realm. It's not a big deal. Shiyu touched his chin and said, the Seven Islands Association probably asked her to rope me in. Then, she invited me to play at the Phoenix God Shrine later. I agreed. We'll go over sooner or later anyway. Tyrannical Sea Legend. He had never seen anyone court death like this. I understand, the Tyrannical Sea Legend said. But I have to remind you, don't fall for the beauty trap of the Seven Islands. Well, it also includes Shenfeng, Tingxiang, Rongguang, Minghua, and Shui Yuan. You're indeed not young anymore. If you have any thoughts, our Dong Huang also has many outstanding female beast tamers. Chapter 605, Beauty Trap from the Seven Islands, 4. Chapter 605, Beauty Trap from the Seven Islands, 4. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. I remember that Lu Qingyi, Tong Yang, and even Divine Bell are all single. If you have such thoughts, they're undoubtedly more outstanding. They're not what a mere beast tamer from the island country can compare to. Shiyu smiled bitterly and said, Don't worry, I know the severity. Do I look like someone who can't resist temptation? Tyrannical Sea Legend, yes. Shiyu? Damn it. Let's not talk about this anymore. Seeing that the Tyrannical Sea Legend was so bored, Shiyu coughed dryly and said, Uncle Yu, how's the situation on the path to champion? Jifeng stopped at the 10th level, and Zhu Yun stopped at the 8th level, Tyrannical Sea Legend said, not too surprised. Shiyu was stunned. Jifeng was all right, but what was wrong with Heavenly King Zhu? This time, he could already imagine Heavenly King Zhu being scolded on the trending list. It was all right. They were different after all. By the way, didn't they also say that after passing the 10th level of the Road of Champions, you can enter the Seven Island mythical ruins to cultivate for 7 days? Shiyu said. Is there any information about this mythical ruins? What are the specific cultivation effects inside? Shiyu began to think about his most important reward. Tyrannical Sea Legend nodded and said, "I've already obtained the information. This mythical ruins is a ruin that increases the efficiency of skill training. In theory, in 7 days, it can allow the pet cultivating inside to train a super skill that has just entered the entry level to nearly expert level and master it at a very fast speed. Of course, if the skill trained by the pet is at the expert level, it's still effective. The rule is that the lower the skill proficiency, the easier it is to increase. And vice versa. It's said that with this ruin, it can steadily nurture overlord-level pets. The effect is comparable to a renewable legendary resource. However, every time this ruin opens, it consumes a huge amount of resources. The cost-effective ratio of nurturing ordinary overlords isn't high, and it's only suitable for geniuses. If nothing goes wrong, the 2 legendary world contestants from the 7 islands and the Phoenix Court that you came into contact with must have cultivated here. Xiaoyu? What? That was it? 7 days? Just add more points, right? The cultivation effect of the mythical ruins was only at this level. Compared to the 7 island mythical ruins, adding points could also train the pet's will and physique. In comparison, Xiaoyu immediately felt bored. Xiaoyu compared it to the mythical ruins that Senior Lu had cracked. The mythical ruins that Senior Lu cracked gave her the corresponding mythical bloodline of the 5 pets and even inherited 5 perfect mythical revival skills. In comparison, although the 7 islands mythical ruins couldn't be said to be useless, it was useless to Xiaoyu, who had the skill index. It wasn't as attractive to him as the ruins that Senior Lu cracked. As expected, mythical ruins were also divided into levels. That's right. It was impossible for the 7 islands to open the ridiculous ruins to outsiders. 7 days of cultivation is not bad. Most importantly, all the contracted pets can enter together. If used appropriately, it will welcome a very good increase, Tyrannical Sea Legend said. Xiaoyu thought for a moment and shook his head. Transfer this opportunity to Big Brother Zhenghai. I'm now Lu Bai, so it's not convenient for 11 and the others to enter the ruins to cultivate. Moreover, 7 days is not very meaningful for my strength to increase. Isn't Zhenghai's pet only a little away from the overlord level? Using this opportunity, perhaps Dong Huang can immediately have a new legendary beast tamer. Xiaoyu said decisively on account of the Tyrannical Sea Legend's infinite devour. Upon hearing that, the Tyrannical Sea Legend was stunned. This was because Zhenghai was his disciple. He completely didn't expect Xiaoyu to say that he would give the opportunity to enter the mythical ruins to Zhenghai. The price will be discounted according to legendary resources. Friendly price. Xiaoyu looked up and said, "Uncle Yu, are you paying or Zhenghai?" Selling this opportunity to buy supplements to increase points was more cost-effective. Tyrannical Sea Legend? Cough, cough. Legend Sea Tyrant's scalp went numb. Although I don't know what you're thinking, you can talk to Zhenghai yourself later. As for him, if he wants that Leviathan to perfectly advance to Overlord, he didn't miss any super skill proficiency upgrade chances, so his progress is a little slow. He should indeed want this cultivation opportunity in the ruins very much. If he doesn't have enough money, you can come to me. Alright, it's just a gesture. I'm mainly afraid that you and Brother Zhenghai will feel embarrassed if I give it to you for free, Xiaoyu said with a chuckle. The corners of Tyrannical Sea Legend's mouth twitched. This guy really knew how to talk. However, the Tyrannical Sea Legend had a good impression of Xiaoyu at this moment. After all, the one who cleared the level was Xiaoyu, but the one who benefited was his disciple. He didn't become a bodyguard for nothing. Wait a minute, after Zhenghai reached the legendary level and participated in the world tournament, would he also have to be Xiaoyu's bodyguard? With Xiaoyu's courting death level. The Tyrannical Sea Legend scalp went numb again. Chapter 606, Phoenix Shrine, 1. Chapter 606, Phoenix Shrine, 1. Translator, Atlas Studios Editor, Atlas Studios. Zhenghai. The personal disciple of the Tyrannical Sea Legend, Yu Jiahui. His talent was a water element strengthening talent, a very common talent. The reason why he was taken in as a disciple by the tyrannical sea legend, a titled expert, was because Zheng Hai's contracted blue salamander accidentally mutated into the Leviathan race after swallowing unknown resources due to a cultivation mistake. This experience could be said to be identical to the tyrannical sea legend. In the early years of the tyrannical sea legend, it was only an ordinary fishing youth. His initial pet was also the blue salamander of a low-level transcendent race. It only knew one bubble skill. However, it was precisely because this blue salamander accidentally swallowed an unknown resource and completed its mutation evolution that it obtained the super racial skill Infinite Devour. This allowed the tyrannical sea legend to directly rise and become a super expert at the top of Dong Huang. Zheng Hai was similar. In the beginning, he was just an ordinary fishing youth, so he was lucky. However, he wasn't as lucky as the tyrannical sea legend, because after his blue salamander mutated, it didn't master Infinite Devour and only completed the racial mutation. But even so, because the tyrannical sea legend had seen some possibilities on Zheng Hai's giant Leviathan, after a test, he also took Zheng Hai in as a disciple. Now, under the nurturing of the tyrannical sea legend, that ordinary fishing youth had already become 8th in the Dong Huang sequence. The trump card pet had also mutated all the way to a middle-level overlord race and mastered 3 super racial skills. Moreover, it had been trained by Zheng Hai to nearly perfect level. "Master, you're looking for me?" This time, Zheng Hai was also brought to the 7 Islands by the tyrannical sea legend. After all, the 7 Islands were the country of water, and it was very suitable for Zheng Hai to train. Unfortunately, the champion path this time prohibited quasi-legendary participants. Although Zheng Hai's pet wasn't at the overlord level, his beast-taming level prevented him from challenging the champion path. Zheng Hai also felt that it was a pity. However, to be able to see Dong Huang's genius beast-tamer, Lu Bai, sweep through the 7 Islands, he also felt that he didn't come for nothing. This Lu Bai was really impressive. He felt that even his overlord race, the giant Leviathan, definitely couldn't withstand a single move from that ice elemental life form. At this moment, Zheng Hai was very confused because he suddenly received a message from his master to come to Lu Bai's room. After arriving, Zheng Hai discovered Lu Bai, who was sitting and communicating with his master, in the room. He also discovered that his master's expression didn't look right. "Yes." Tyrannical Sea Legend nodded. Because Lu Bai passed the 10th level of the Champion's Path, Dong Huang obtained the right to use the 7 Islands mythical cultivation ruins on the 7th day. Zheng Hai also nodded. He naturally knew this. Originally, this cultivation opportunity was Lu Bai's, but for some reason, he planned to pass this cultivation opportunity to you to use. "What?" Zheng Hai widened his eyes and looked at Shiyu eagerly. "Brother, is this for real?" Looking at Shiyu, who looked like a white-haired youth, Zheng Hai called him brother in shock. With this, his giant Leviathan's 3 super racial skills had reached perfect proficiency. It would definitely not be a problem to break through to the overlord level. Apart from that, the strength of the other pets could also increase in the short term. It could save him a lot of time and ensure that he had more time to stabilize his strength before the world tournament began. Wait a minute, Lu Bai was not related to him at all. Why would he give such a huge opportunity to him? Zheng Hai was puzzled for a moment, but he quickly understood that his master might have fought for it for him. He was immediately touched. Cough, cough. Shiyu coughed dryly and said, "Wait a minute. It's not a free gift. It's according to the internal friendship price. There's no problem, right?" Zheng Hai's eyes flickered. "Of course. I won't let Brother Lu Bai suffer a loss. Even if I sell the Binhai Training Hall and go bankrupt, I definitely won't let Brother Lu suffer a loss." Since it was arranged by his master, he naturally wouldn't let Lu Bai suffer, lest Lu Bai and President Yi look down on them. Wasn't it just money? He would give double the amount Lu Bai wanted. Zheng Hai wasn't stupid. He had calculated it. If he obtained the cultivation opportunity gifted by Lu Bai, his giant Leviathan could quickly become a perfect overlord. At that time, he would be the 5th legendary beast tamer in the top 10 of the Dong Huang sequence. Coupled with his water element strengthening talent, his overlord giant Leviathan strength was definitely extraordinary. Even monsters like Shiyu, Lu Qingyi, and Jifeng definitely couldn't defeat the Leviathan race that had the enhancement of beast tamers. Then, in theory, he should be able to enter the top 5 of the sequence. At that time, the reward for the sequence battle would be a legendary resource. What was wrong with investing more now? In any case, after breaking through to the legendary level, the resources could be quickly returned. He had already wasted too much time to let the giant Leviathan perfectly advance to an overlord. He had to seize this opportunity. Brother Xinghai, no need to be polite, Shiyu said with a smile. No, I should be the one thanking Brother Lu Bai. I won't stand on ceremony. This opportunity is indeed very important to me, Xinghai said. There's actually another reason why I called you over this time, said the tyrannical sea legend. Tomorrow, you and Old Ku will go to the Red God Island with Lu Bai to visit the Phoenix God Shrine and try to crack the Phoenix mystic realm behind the Phoenix God Shrine. Who? Xinghai was stunned. Although he had reached the quasi-legendary level and was also a legendary disciple of the tyrannical sea, like Jifeng and the others, he didn't know the real purpose of the Dong Huang exchange team coming to the 7 Islands, nor did he know the true identity of Lu Bai. Chapter 607, Phoenix Shrine, 2. Chapter 607, Phoenix Shrine, 2. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. At this moment, when he heard his master say that he wanted to send them to some Phoenix mystic realm, he immediately said, "Are we going to start cracking the ruins mystic realm of the 7 Islands? So our first goal is this Phoenix mystic realm? With Bureau 11's of Old Ku as the core," Xinghai said, "what do I have to do?" You? Tyrannical Sea Legend said, "Just follow Lu Bai to discuss business. There's no need to do anything. Make a good relationship with this guy so that he wouldn't kill you." Tyrannical Sea Legend was really worried that his disciple would suffer from Shiyu. After all, for Shiyu to be able to get so many legendary resources from the association, he was definitely not easy to deal with. Xinghai. Because the member of the Dong Huang exchange team, Lu Bai, had been invited by the Phoenix Witch of the 7 Islands, the Phoenix Court, to visit the Phoenix God Shrine, the Dong Huang exchange team decided to form a special exchange team and go together. Legendary Beast Tamer, Archaeologist Kuingzong of Bureau 11, Quasi-Legendary Beast Tamer, Sect Master Xinghai of the Binhai Training Hall, and Shiyu himself. It was a very simple combination of 3. Of course, there was definitely the Gem Cat behind the scenes. However, most of Dong Huang's own people didn't know that the Gem Cat following them the whole time was Dong Huang's guardian, let alone the 7 Islands. The next day, the challenge on the road to champion continued. Today, Ning Tuanming, who was a hybrid of human and ghost, continued to challenge. As for Dong Huang's special exchange team, they had already set off for the Red God Island and the Phoenix God Society. On the ocean and the huge ship, Xinghai kept feeling that this special exchange team was strange, but he couldn't tell what was strange. "Old Ku, are we really going to explore the mystic realm?" he asked the archaeologist from Bureau 11 beside him, Senior Kuingzong. "What else?" Old Ku said. "Why do I feel that it's to prevent Brother Lu from being abducted?" Xinghai looked at Lu Bai and the Phoenix Court couple who were romancing side by side in the distance and felt confused and envious. Wait, when did Lu Bai hook up with the Phoenix Court, the number 3 on the 7 Islands? Compared to exploring the mystic realm, why did he feel that the goal of the Dong Huang exchange team this time was to look after Lu Bai? Damn it, why didn't the 7 Islands send someone to use a honey trap on him? He also wanted to challenge his weakness. Look at yourself, old Master Ku shook his head. He didn't believe that Shiyu would be swayed by beauty in front of a Phoenix race ruins mystic realm. The will of their Bureau 11 archaeologists was definitely firm. Ruins. 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 Women would only delay their speed of tearing down the ruins. If anyone's getting abducted, it should be us who abduct that little girl to Dong Huang. Old Master Ku was a person with great ambition. The Phoenix Divine Society was established to protect and worship the Phoenix mystic realm. As long as they moved the Phoenix mystic realm to Donghuang, the Phoenix Shrine would also move to Donghuang. It was very reasonable for a group of witches to marry into Donghuang. This Jinghai had definitely never heard of a popular idiom in Bureau 11. Because Shi Yu, a newcomer to Bureau 11, had cracked the mystic realm of the ruins too quickly after joining Bureau 11. In Bureau 11, the saying that times had changed had been circulating for a long time. It was probably no exception this time. However, he wasn't sure if they could do it this time. Hopefully it wasn't a demolition. Jinghai, who didn't know the purpose of this trip and Shi Yu's identity, only felt deep confusion. I didn't expect you to make a decision so quickly. I thought you still had to think for a while. On the huge ship, Jie Yi of the Phoenix Court, who was wearing a witch suit, looked at the sea and said in surprise. It's mainly because Senior Ku from the exchange team was very interested after hearing about the Phoenix mystic realm and couldn't wait to explore it. Shi Yu coughed dryly and said weakly. His short white hair fluttered, and she looked like she was about to die in the next moment, making Jie Yi, who was beside her, a little panicked. She was afraid that Lu Bai would suddenly fall beside her. In that case, it would make it seem like she was here to assassinate Lu Bai. Is that so? Jie Yi of the Phoenix Court forced a smile and said, however, I have to remind you in advance that although the Phoenix mystic realm is also an unsolved mystic realm, it's still fundamentally different from other ruins. Who? Shi Yu said. Please elaborate. My teacher has done sufficient research on this mystic realm. In this mystic realm, only humans with special Phoenix bloodlines have any hope of communicating. It can be said that people of mixed blood are the key to cracking the Phoenix mystic realm. Other methods can't cause any changes in the Phoenix mystic realm, so compared to wasting too much time on the Phoenix mystic realm, my suggestion is that under my lead, we visit the Phoenix God Shrine and Phoenix Mountain more. The scenery here is still very beautiful, the Phoenix Court's Jie Yi said. Shi Yu fell into deep thought. It was similar to what he had learned. The Undying Dark Phoenix also said that Kai Tong's bloodline was the key to opening the Phoenix mystic realm. As for Kai Tong's power, it was essentially a hybrid of a human and a phoenix. Although it was a heroic spirit now, the nature of its power would not change. Is there anything special over there? Shi Yu asked again. Of course, Jie Yi said. On Phoenix Mountain, hundreds of phoenixes dance together. It's filled with rich mythical colors. It's the most unique of the new shrines on the 7 islands. These are all pets of the witches in the shrine. Chapter 608, Phoenix Shrine, 3. Chapter 608, Phoenix Shrine, 3. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Apart from that, the spiritual plants on the mountain are also unique. They're rare in the outside world. Shi Yu said, I heard that the witches of the Phoenix Shrine are all mixed blood. He had been curious about this for a long time. Even in Donghuang, apart from Mu Huiyin and the Empress, he had never heard of anyone being a phoenix hybrid. Why were there so many on the 7 islands? Could it be that the hybrid faction of the phoenix race escaped from Donghuang to the 7 islands? This was also a possibility. Donghuang's geographical area was incomparably vast, many times larger than the 7 islands. As for Donghuang, it was the center of the totem battle in ancient times and a place to fight for. Therefore, at that time, in order to leave the center of the war, many beast tamers fled to relatively barren and peaceful places. Not far away, Old Ku was researching this. The Donghuang bloodline was distributed in the dozen or so totem countries near Donghuang. Therefore, it was completely possible for a portion of the Phoenix race to escape to other countries during the internal strife of the Phoenix race. Yes. They're all the same as me. The difference is just the density of their bloodlines and their compatibility with the Phoenix bloodline, the Phoenix Court said. At that time, after my teacher came out of the Phoenix mystic realm, she began to study how to increase the purity of her Phoenix bloodline. After 10 years of hard work, she developed a resource called the Phoenix Fruit. This fruit can not only give a specific human Phoenix bloodline and make it a hybrid, but it can also strengthen the bloodline concentration of the Phoenix species pets. The entire Phoenix God Society was built relying on the special resource, the Phoenix Fruit. These were not secrets. She told Shiyu bit by bit, making Shiyu's expression change slightly. Phoenix Fruit. There's such a resource? Shiyu found it very unbelievable. Back then, the information obtained by the tyrannical sea legend and the others didn't mention such a thing. This is the fruit of teachers' hard work, but unfortunately, after creating countless keys through the Phoenix Fruit, the Phoenix Divine Society still can't crack the Phoenix Mystic Realm, the Phoenix Court said. Although, it has cultivated many outstanding mixed-blood beast tamers. She smiled and said, if it weren't for teacher, I would never have such achievements, let alone reach level 7 at this age through the Phoenix bloodline. Senior of the Phoenix Court is really impressive, Shiyu said. If this were Dong Huang, this person could at least get a high position in Bureau 12. Bureau 12, Hybrid Bureau. In Dong Huang, there were many mixed-blood beast tamer families. Apart from some beast tamers with rare bloodlines, those who could join this bureau were basically the patriarchs of some mixed-blood families or successors with extremely high potential. For example, Ning Tuanming was the heir of a large family. Their status in the hybrid world was important, and they were a very important part of Dong Huang's beast-taming power. However, until now, apart from normal reproduction, Dong Huang had no stable way to create mixed-blood beast tamers. The Phoenix Fruit developed by the owner of this Phoenix Shrine could actually steadily create beast tamers with the Phoenix bloodline in batches. No matter how weak the bloodline was, mixed blood still had a certain advantage over ordinary beast tamers. I can let baby Ginseng and Ling study it someday. They can even develop strange things like the Soul Heart Fruit and the Reincarnation Fruit. There's no reason why they can't develop the Hybrid Fruit. At that time, I might be able to use this research result to enter Bureau 12 and take a look. Shiyu muttered to himself. Why, are you very interested in the Phoenix Fruit? Jie said. I'm indeed very interested. I wonder if my body can become better after becoming a hybrid. Shiyu coughed dryly and revealed a weak expression. Unfortunately, the Phoenix Court said. The Phoenix Fruit is only effective for women, and not on any woman. Apart from the hard condition of being a virgin, probably only 1 in a million people has the corresponding compatibility. Shiyu, cough, cough, cough. He wanted to say, give me the fruit cultivation method. I'll help you study and optimize it. He trembled in anger. When could the male beast tamer stand up? Men could also have the Phoenix bloodline. If Shiyu wanted to, he could let Kai Tong transform him into a hybrid through max-level possession. However, Shiyu was afraid that something bad would happen to his body, such as his entire body being covered in red feathers, causing his later years to be inauspicious, so he didn't have this thought. In short, let Kai Tong, baby Ginseng, and Ling study the fruit. Perhaps it could really be optimized. That's a pity, Shiyu said. But maybe in the future, the Phoenix God Shrine can develop a way to make men become Phoenix race hybrids. Jie of the Phoenix Court smiled and said, if you still have any thoughts at that time, you can come and find me. All right. Shiyu smiled. By the way, Jie of the Phoenix Court looked at Shiyu and said, this time, apart from showing you around the Phoenix God Society, I also want to fight a beast-taming battle with you. It can be considered a response to the missions of those higher-ups. Battle? Shiyu said. What you're talking about shouldn't be a simple battle, right? Yes, there's a bet. If I win, you'll date me. Shiyu? Shiyu immediately grabbed the railing and said, then I'm sorry. After becoming a beast tamer, I've never lost a battle. I won't lose. Chapter 609, Phoenix Shrine, 4. Chapter 609, Phoenix Shrine, 4. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Besides, what if I win? Shiyu asked. The Phoenix Court's Jie smiled. If you don't mind, I can also date you if you win. Shiyu said, I'm still more interested in the Phoenix Fruit. If I win, can you give me one? Phoenix Court's Jie? So he was really interested in the Phoenix Fruit. She was silent for a moment. Only teacher has the right to handle the phoenix fruit. If she agrees, it's fine. Shiyu said, but speaking of which, according to what I know, the shrines on the 7 islands should be the residences of various legendary mythical creatures or the guardians of the 7 islands. The phoenix god shrine established by your teacher enshrines and sacrifices. Of course it's the founder of this phoenix mystic realm, the owner of this place, Jie said. Teacher said that this mystic realm changed her fate. If not for this mystic realm, she would already be a dead person. In that case, she's willing to worship the owner of the mystic realm as a guardian. More than 10 years ago, no, even now, some rural areas of the 7 countries were still very feudal. The founder of the Phoenix Divine Temple, the legend of the 7 islands, Jisrong of the Phoenix Court, came from a feudal countryside. At that time, this place had yet to change from the thoughts of the totem era. They felt that they needed to carry out a life sacrifice to the gods every once in a while to obtain peace. At that time, Jisrong and her pet from the Phoenix Court were the targets to be burned alive and sacrificed. Because she didn't want to die, Jisrong chose to escape. At that time, Jisrong of the Phoenix Court was only a beast tamer in turn. The outside world was incomparably dangerous, and ferocious beasts were everywhere. She was already mentally prepared to die in the mouth of ferocious beasts during her escape. However, the truth was that as a beast tamer in turn, she accidentally entered the Phoenix mystic realm during her escape and awakened her bloodline. With this opportunity, she and her pet changed their fate. In just 10 years, they became legends whose names shook the 7 islands. After that, in order to protect and explore the Phoenix mystic realm, she established the Phoenix Divine Society. She had also changed her original surname to her current surname, Phoenix Court. Ji of the Phoenix Court knew this and knew her teacher's experience, so she also sincerely protected the Phoenix mystic realm. However, although she was a teacher, Jisrong of the Phoenix Court was actually not much older than the group of witches of the Phoenix God Society. She was only in her 30s now, comparable to legend Xiao Shuang of Dong Huang. Unfortunately, due to the serious break in the history of the 7 islands, the origin of this mystic realm is already impossible to determine, said Jie of the Phoenix Court with a shake of her head. Being unable to know the history of the Phoenix mystic realm had always been a knot in the Phoenix Court legend. Shiyu was slightly stunned. Therefore, the one they worshipped was indeed the Undying Dark Phoenix. If the Undying Dark Phoenix knew that it had accidentally obtained a large number of believers, who knew what it would think? I hope that through our offerings, the owner of the Phoenix mystic realm can appear one day, the Phoenix Court said. Through the power of faith. That day will come, Shiyu was silent. If the prophecy of the owl was accurate enough, one day, Kai Tong would probably break open the seal of the Undying Dark Phoenix. However, there were actually believers of the Undying Dark Phoenix on the 7 islands. This was a dangerous sign. Fortunately, there weren't many believers. The power of faith, this power, really existed. No one knew the first creature to collect the power of faith, but many totems could be created to strengthen their skills through the power of faith. This was also why some totems had to establish countries and fight for territories and citizens. Becoming a god through the power of faith was also a very widespread legend. Although many powerful totems disdained this, such as Yunnan, who completely relied on strength to attain the Tao, it was undeniable that this was also a path to become stronger. For example, the fox gods of the heavenly fox nation around Dong Huang were totems that mainly collected the power of faith. Even the legendary emperors of Dong Huang had studied the power of faith. Even some transcendent creatures were born from the power of faith. For example, the blue sea sprite was a combination of the power of faith and the power of the sea. Therefore, this was also the third high-level ability that could be studied apart from optimizing races and creating skills. If the Undying Dark Phoenix could also collect the power of faith to become stronger, wouldn't this Phoenix God Society be helping the Undying Dark Phoenix break through the seal in disguise? No. He had to think of a way to break the power of faith of the Undying Dark Phoenix. Chapter 610, Yunnan and the Dragon Palace Environmental Protection Department. Chapter 610, Yunnan and the Dragon Palace Environmental Protection Department. Translator, Atlas Studios Editor, Atlas Studios. The destination of the Dong Huang exchange team, Red God Island. There weren't many legendary factions on this island. There were only 5. The Phoenix Shrine was one of the new legendary factions. Apart from that, there was also a relatively new legendary faction, the Ku Yuan Financial Group. This was a technological faction. It involved many industries such as medicine, healing, life engineering, and biological modification, including many top-secret plans that couldn't be made public. The huge ship from Heavenly Rainbow Island to Red God Island slowly approached the shore. Shiyu looked at the huge island in front of him that was like a continent and was already prepared to fight. However, just as he was getting closer and closer to the island, he suddenly sensed something and was slightly stunned. This wave is? After being stunned for a moment, Shiyu asked the gem cat to use its clone to investigate the situation. At the same time, somewhere in the depths of the sea area of the Red God Island, a group of hidden sea creatures was on standby. Among this group of sea creatures, there were 2 overlords and more than 10 monarchs. They basically had spatial, spiritual, and undead attributes. Their lineup was incomparably luxurious. If they worked together, they could instantly cause a huge and nasty impact on the Red God Island. However, this group of sea creatures hid very well. The investigation methods of the 7 islands couldn't discover their traces. This group of sea creatures also thought that they had hidden very well. They dived into the dark deep sea to rest and didn't notice that a totem clone was approaching them. At this moment, a light suddenly shocked them, making them feel as if they were facing a great enemy. Impossible! How could they be discovered? Cat, cat, it's a cat, there's a cat in the sea. After an instant of observation, they were even more shocked. This was because in this dark and deep sea, a cat with bright eyes that illuminated the deep sea suddenly appeared in front of them. After the shock, they were calm. The hearts of these sea creatures suddenly stopped, because why did this cat feel a little familiar? Vice Minister. The leader of the ocean overlords widened its eyes. Hi! The gem cat looked at these hidden sea beasts strangely. If it weren't for Buggy sensing the phantom fluctuations it created through the environmental badge, they really wouldn't have discovered these guys. Yes, the group of sea beasts hidden near the Red God Island were members of the Marine Environmental Protection Department of Dragon Palace City. The Ice Dragon badge they carried was the most important thing that Shiyu could instantly sense their movements. As long as it reached a certain range, Buggy could sense the illusion it had created, and inside the Ice Dragon badge was the Ice Dragon Phantom created by Buggy. Through this ability, in times of crisis, Buggy could also call the members of the Environmental Protection Department who carried badges within a certain range to save them. It could be said that Shiyu had this plan when he created the badge. Otherwise, wouldn't it be very boring to lead such a group of overlords but not be able to use them? Therefore, although these sea beasts hid very well, they were still instantly discovered because they were holding Buggy's locator. What are you guys doing here? We're on a mission, the spatial jellyfish overlord in the lead said. Mission? The gem cat was stunned for a moment and said, could it be that it's investigating the poison dragon totem that invaded the sea area of Dragon Palace City a few months ago? That's right. The space jellyfish overlord cried and said, but why don't you know anything about the mission of the Environmental Protection Department, Deputy Minister? The gem cat. It wasn't just it. Their minister probably didn't know. Then did you find out anything? The gem cat asked. The space jellyfish overlord's expression was serious as it said, the birth of the poison dragon totem might be related to a faction called the Ku Yuan Financial Group on the 7 islands. The poison dragon totem is an experimental subject of their biological modification experiment. A few months ago, an unknown experimental base of the Ku Yuan Financial Group was destroyed. The experimental subject defected. This experimental subject that defected can basically be determined to be the predecessor of the poison dragon totem, the poison dragon overlord. In addition, we've also obtained some evidence of other secret experiments on the Ku Yuan Financial Group. We've already gotten others to send it to Dragon Palace City. We're all on standby here. But according to the investigation, the core figure of this Kuyuan financial group seems to have slipped away a few months ago. Huh? The gem cat's expression became serious and fierce. The poison dragon totem was indeed related to the Seven Islands. It smelled a big event. It would be fine if it was just biological modification. Which country had not done it? However, the biological modification on the poison dragon totem was not simple. The power fluctuations on its body came from Yunnan. King of Totems, demigod Yunnan, a powerful extraterrestrial creature that had once forced Emperor Wu to a dead end. Not only was Dragon Palace City investigating, but Dong Huang was also investigating the poison dragon totem for the clues behind Yunnan. Now, they actually found out something? What was the relationship between this Seven Island Science and Technology Financial Group and Yunnan? It could already imagine how Dragon Palace City would use the excuse to start extorting the Seven Islands after receiving the news. It could already imagine what Dong Huang would do after learning that Yunnan might be related to the Seven Islands. However, what do you mean the core figure slipped away? Tell me everything about the investigation, the gem cat said quickly. The space jellyfish overlord said, we suspect that this Kuyuan financial group of the Seven Islands has colluded with the Totem faction. On the huge ship that arrived at the Red God Island, Shiyu synchronized the information through the gem cat's main body. His mood and expression became more and more serious. He didn't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing. We're finally here. Zheng Hai stretched. Red God Island. Yes. Senior Kuingzong smiled and nodded. He had been looking forward to the Phoenix Mystic Realm for a long time. Although he had also explored many mystic realms in his country, they weren't as fragrant as other ruins' mystic realms. The grass was always greener on the other side. The Phoenix God Shrine is located in a remote place. Next, let me lead you to the Phoenix God Shrine, Jie Yi said to the three beast tamers of Dong Huang. My teacher's already waiting for you all, Senior Ku. Teacher wants to know more about the Phoenix race from you, Senior Ku. The founder of the Phoenix God Society, Ji Shuang, was very interested in the Phoenix race because she was a hybrid. The one who studied the Phoenix race the most was Dong Huang, because since the Totem era, dragons and phoenixes had been the supreme totems of the Dong Huang continent. The worship of dragons and phoenixes was far greater than that of other countries. Of course, before other countries left the control of the totems, they also had their own supreme faith. For example, Shui Yuan worship bears. This, Senior Kuingzong said, I indeed have some new archaeological discoveries here, but unfortunately, I can't confirm it yet. The one who discovered it wasn't me, but another archaeologist from our Dong Huang. Shiyu. Brother Shiyu? Beside him, Zheng Hai was surprised. Then, he said, that's true. Shiyu's Mu Huain's heroic spirit was related to the Phoenix race. It was a hybrid. He believed that Shiyu had studied the Phoenix race. Ah, Shiyu. Shiyu also said from the side, revealing a curious expression. I've heard of this name. He's the #1 person below the legends of Dong Huang, a genius archaeologist, the Phoenix Court's Jie Yi said. With that said, she looked at Liu Bai, wondering who was stronger between Liu Bai and Shiyu. Liu Bai had a calm expression and smiled. That person is indeed powerful. Has Brother Liu Bai interacted with Shiyu? Zheng Hai asked curiously. In his opinion, these two people were super geniuses. Not yet, but I've heard of it long ago. When I return this time, I should challenge him and see how powerful the #1 person below the legendary level in Dong Huang is, Shiyu said calmly. He challenged himself. The #1 person below the legendary level, Shiyu, vs the hidden genius, Liu Bai, who had swept through the Seven Islands. The outcome might depend on whether Susu could defeat 11 at the moment. At the side, the corners of Senior Ku's mouth twitched. This guy was really addicted to playing this role. He had reason to suspect that he wanted to occupy 2 sequence positions and cheat more resources. Really? Upon hearing that Liu Bai wanted to challenge Shiyu, Jie Yi of the Phoenix Court revealed an interested expression and said, but before that, I hope Liu Baijun can fight a battle with me without any regrets. Shiyu covered his mouth and continued to cough dryly. His face was pale as he said, "Of course." Naturally, he had to negotiate with the legend of the Phoenix Court first before fighting. He didn't want to fight a meaningless battle. However, no matter how many times Shiyu repeated the title Phoenix Court legend, he kept feeling that it was strange. He felt like he was singing the name. Something like the mystic realm of the Seven Islands is my love tilde the ground under the ancient ruins is cracking tilde. Chapter 611, Secret Art of Time, 1. Chapter 611, Secret Art of Time, 1. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. The Phoenix Shrine was located on a remote mountain in the depths of the Red God Island. This was a fiery red mountain. From afar, the mountain was filled with fiery red spiritual plants. It was beautiful. Shiyu and the others ascended the steps. After a complicated etiquette, they entered the Phoenix God Shrine. At this moment, Kai Tong, who was in Shiyu's beast-taming space, sensed the fluctuations of the mystic realm just like how Buggy sensed its illusion previously. Kai Tong, Shiyu, oh. The undying Dark Phoenix was right. There was really an inheritance. Shiyu's mood immediately improved. However, perhaps because of the special situation today, there were no people from the Phoenix God Shrine who came to pray. The interior was very cold. Senior Jie Yi, distinguished guests. As Jie Yi of the Phoenix Court led Shiyu and the other two to the Divine Temple, a woman who was also wearing a red and white witch dress walked forward. She was about 12 or 13 years old and looked very young. She raised her head and said, "This way, please. The Divine Master is waiting." "I understand." Jie Yi of the Phoenix Court smiled at the young witch and said, "Everyone, please follow me." Kuingzong, Zheng Hai, and Shiyu nodded. Soon, Shiyu and the others were brought to an ancient house. In the house, Jislong of the Phoenix Court had already made tea and was waiting for the arrival of the guests. She was a legendary beast tamer in her 30s. She wore a pure white feather sweater over her white and red kimono. Her orange-red long hair naturally fell. From the outside, she didn't look much older than Jie Yi from the Phoenix Court. However, the aura emitted from his body instantly made Kuingzong, Zheng Hai, Shiyu, and the others' hearts freeze. They felt that what existed in front of them was an overlord-level ferocious beast. This was a powerful pressure unique to high-level mixed-blood beast tamers. In Dong Huang's team, although Ning Qianming had already started to emit pressure, compared to this legendary Divine Master of the Phoenix Divine Shrine, he was still a child in comparison. "Welcome, esteemed guests." After the legendary Divine Master of the Phoenix Shrine got up to welcome him, she smiled calmly and said, "I'm the Divine Master of the Phoenix Divine Society, Jislong of the Phoenix Court." Legend of the Phoenix Court. "Hello, I'm the legendary archaeologist of Dong Huang, Kuingzong," Kuingzong replied. "Zheng Hai, quasi-legendary beast tamer of Dong Huang." "Top-notch beast tamer of Dong Huang, Lu Bai." Shiyu and the others also introduced themselves one by one. Ji Xiong's gaze swept past the few of them one by one. Then, it stopped on Shiyu for a while and her heart skipped a beat. She didn't feel threatened from the legendary beast tamer Kuingzong or the disciple of the tyrannical sea legend, but this sickly Lu Bai made Ji Xiong feel strange. As a wild beast, if she was a phoenix bird soaring through the sky, then the Lu Bai in front of her was a giant with a body comparable to a mountain, an extraordinary strength that could pluck stars and grab the moon and reach her. How was this possible? He clearly looked like a sickly young man, but the pressure was even stronger than those titled legends. This pressure was not related to the strength of the beast tamer. It was purely produced by the beast tamer's bloodline, physique, spirit, and will. After being slightly surprised, Jislong from the Phoenix Court calmed down and said, "I've long heard of your names. Please take a seat first. Jie Yi, you sit too." "Yes, teacher." Soon, the five of them started talking. The host, Jislong of the Phoenix Court, was the first to start the topic. "Legend Could should be here for the Phoenix Mystic Realm, right? I've also heard of the Bet Agreement on the Path of Champion. I wonder why Legend Ku and the others chose this ruin? At the side, Jie Yi from the Phoenix Court immediately became reserved. This? I heard it from Lu Bai. In addition, the dragon and phoenix have been the representative totems of Donghuang since ancient times, so I'm naturally a little interested, Ku Chuanqi said. Ji Xiong looked at Lu Bai. Shiyu said, wasn't it you, the legend of the Phoenix Court, who invited us to explore? Shiyu put the little witch on the spot. Ji Xiong of the Phoenix Court looked at Jie Yi of the Phoenix Court. Jie Yi of the Phoenix Court was silent. Wasn't this because teacher had the higher-ups of the association asking her to come into contact with this Lu Bai? Wasn't she just trying her best to make him interested? Ji Xiong from the Phoenix Court pondered for a moment and quickly understood the cause and effect. In the end, she looked at Shiyu. Shiyu revealed his sharpness. The Seven Islands Association had taken a fancy to Shiyu's potential and hoped to keep him here. Even if they couldn't keep Shiyu here, they could let him have a few more children on the Seven Islands. It would be good if they could inherit Shiyu's mysterious, beast-taming talent. Among them, the first choice to come into contact with Shiyu was the Phoenix Court. Even Ji Xiong of the Phoenix Court felt that this was nothing. Although the strength of the Phoenix Court's Jie Yi was not bad, she had already judged that it was not the key to open the Phoenix mystic realm. Therefore, compared to the Phoenix Court's Jie Yi, the Phoenix Court's Ji Xiong looked forward to what changes the child of the Phoenix Court's Jie Yi could bring. After all, bloodlines could also be passed down through reproduction. If one party's bloodline was outstanding enough, it might even optimize the other party's bloodline. The Phoenix Court's Jie Yi and Lu Bai were undoubtedly very outstanding. The Phoenix Court's Ji Xiong didn't care about nationality or anything. She only cared if both parties had enough outstanding bloodlines to give birth to a child who could become the key to the Phoenix mystic realm. Chapter 612, Secret Art of Time, 2. Chapter 612, Secret Art of Time, 2. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Therefore, when the higher-ups of the Seven Islands looked for the Phoenix God Shrine, Ji Xiong of the Phoenix Court was not in a hurry to refuse. Instead, she fought for the opinion of the Phoenix Court's Jie Yi. The Phoenix Court's Jie Yi was not a weakling anymore. This kind of thing naturally should be taken into consideration by Jie Yi herself. Fortunately, the Phoenix Court's Jie Yi was also interested in the strong. However, Ji Xiong of the Phoenix Court didn't expect that this girl would use the Phoenix mystic realm as a date venue and bait him. Forget it, this isn't important. I also have some questions I want to ask Legend Ku. Ji Xiong of the Phoenix Court shook her head. In any case, in her opinion, it was impossible for this group of people to crack the Phoenix mystic realm. After she became a legend, she went to various places to train, including the 7 countries and the Totem Country. According to what she knew, in the 7 countries, their Phoenix Divine Society was the only one with mixed blood. Therefore, the only possibility of cracking the Phoenix mystic realm was still on them. Although Donghuang used dragons and phoenixes as totems, it was mainly hybrids of humans and dragons. They were known as the successors of dragons, but no one was a phoenix hybrid. What? Kuingzong felt that it should be about the phoenix race. According to what I know, although Donghuang doesn't have the mixed blood of the phoenix race anymore, in ancient times, that legendary beast tamer known as the Empress was a mixed blood of the phoenix race. Therefore, I want to ask Legend Ku if he knows the related origin of the mixed blood of the phoenix. I know that. Before Senior Kuingzong could answer, Shiyu answered first, making Ji Xiong look at Shiyu in surprise. Shiyu said, I've only heard of it, but I don't know its accuracy. Tell me about it. Shiyu said, more than 2,000 years ago, the development of the phoenix race fell into a certain bottleneck. A voice appeared in the phoenix race. The power of the bloodline is about to be given to some humans with suitable physiques to break this bottleneck with humans with the phoenix bloodline. However, because the growth of hybrids requires too many resources and the phoenix race has many members who pursue the purity of their bloodline, 2 factions have been divided in the race. One side supports the hybrid human plan, while the other side firmly opposes humans sharing the resources of the phoenix race. From this, the Phoenix race's internal strife was born. Many mixed-blood humans were chased by the purebloods. Some died, and others escaped. The internal strife lasted for thousands of years. In the end, the hybrid faction gained the upper hand. The Empress of Dong Huang was said to be the strongest among the mixed-blood beast tamers at that time, and the origin of the Phoenix race's mixed blood was also Dong Huang. If Senior Phoenix Court is curious about your identity, you might be able to go to Dong Huang in the future to take a look too. Perhaps your ancestor was the Dong Huang person who escaped from the Phoenix race's internal strife back then, Shiyu said with a smile. After he finished speaking, Senior Ku, who was beside him, exclaimed was shocked. This guy was just starting off with that right off the bat? He didn't just want to take away the mystic realm, right? He also wanted to move the entire Phoenix God Society to Dong Huang. As Shiyu finished speaking, Ji Xiong's expression changed. She didn't expect that she could really obtain some secrets from the Dong Huang people that she didn't know before. However, just as Shiyu had said, even he didn't know if this was true or false. Ji Xiong didn't immediately believe it. At the side, Jie Yi from the Phoenix Court also opened her mouth slightly. Lu Bai said that teacher's ancestor might be from Dong Huang? Is this Dong Huang's archaeological discovery? Ji Xiong from the Phoenix Court asked. You can't determine the accuracy because there's no evidence. Shiyu nodded and said, there's no conclusive evidence. But actually, the discoverer himself is decisive evidence. The beast tamer who discovered this secret is said to be the genius archaeologist of Dong Huang, Shiyu. He has already made several epoch-making archaeological discoveries in Dong Huang. With his qualifications, the authenticity of this statement should be very high. Shiyu, it wasn't the first time Ji Xiong had heard this name. Did Shiyu discover this too? Beside him, Zhang Hai was very shocked. But soon, he came to a realization and said, yes, the heroic spirit contracted by Brother Shiyu, General Mu Huiyin, is also a hybrid of a human and a phoenix. It's not strange for him to know some inside information. Mu Huiyin, heroic spirit? What's that? Ji Xiong asked. Although the higher-ups of the Seven Islands Association had investigated Shiyu, Ji Xiong didn't know much about him. Therefore, the saying that Dong Huang didn't have mixed blood now was actually an old version. Shiyu smiled and said, it's said that the fourth pet of Shiyu, the number one person below the legend of Dong Huang, is a heroic spirit formed by an ancient sage. That sage is also a hybrid of a human and a phoenix. Ji Xiong was stunned. So, there was a hybrid in Dong Huang now? Soon, she shook her head. It didn't mean much. Not every hybrid was related to the Phoenix mystic realm. There were so many mixed-blood beast tamers in the Phoenix Divine Society, but they still couldn't open the mystic realm. Moreover, they had already turned into undead. They shouldn't have any bloodline concept anymore. She looked at Shiyu and said, you know this Shiyu very well. Shiyu said, with his reputation in Dong Huang, everyone should know him. It can be said that the younger generation of Dong Huang lives under his light. Zhang Hai. The corners of old Master Kuingzong's mouth twitched crazily. Was this F** King Guy done? His alternate identity was about to fall. What old Master Ku didn't know was that Shiyu no longer cared about the identity at this moment because he already had a premonition that the relationship between the Red God Island, or rather, the Seven Islands, would immediately become tense. Chapter 613, Secret Art of Time, 3. Chapter 613, Secret Art of Time, 3. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. The legendary faction of the Seven Islands was studying Yunnan. This kind of thing was clearly about to happen. Dong Huang didn't know, but at least Dragon Palace City had long wanted to extort the Seven Islands. They just didn't have evidence previously. This time, the Environmental Protection Department caught the evidence and even sent it back to Dragon Palace City. If Shiyu's judgment was right, it shouldn't be long before several totem-level Dragon Kings came to the Seven Islands to take a look and see if they could compensate for the loss of mental pollution. The Seven Islands were about to be in turmoil. Who would care about a small master like him? He wanted to lay the foundation for Shi Yu's information. Perhaps in the future he would have the chance to deceive the Phoenix God Shrine into joining Dong Huang as a member of Bureau 12. After all, the other party worshipped the Undying Dark Phoenix, and he was the designated heir of the Undying Dark Phoenix. If the other party's faith was sincere enough, they would split the grave to save their mother. Moreover, a friend I know also contracted a Phoenix bloodline pet, so he's also a little concerned about these aspects, Shi Yu said. I see, Ji Xiong said and nodded at Shi Yu. Although this Lu Bai looked a little sick, his strength and knowledge looked pretty good. He was worthy of Jie Yi. Unfortunately, if it was the combination of Shi Yu and Jie Yi that the other party mentioned, it might be even more perfect. But Ji Xiong also knew that that was unrealistic. She didn't know his strength, but in terms of talent, that Shi Yu was definitely better than Lu Bai. Jie Yi probably couldn't come into contact with such a super genius protected by Dong Huang. Jie Yi, when are you guys getting married? The Divine Master of the Phoenix Court asked. Phut, Old Ku and Ring Hai almost spat out their tea. Cough. Shi Yu himself almost choked. Holy shit, this legend of the Phoenix Court was even more direct than this witch. The Phoenix Court's Jie Yi also coughed and said, Teacher, how can progress be that fast? I still have an unfinished battle with Lu Bai. If I win, he's willing to date me. Kuingzong and Ring Hai? The two of them opened their mouths wide and looked at Shi Yu. Holy shit, did someone really seduce him? They suspected that Shi Yu or Lu Bai would deliberately lose. Wait, they shouldn't even talk about whether it was intentional or not. The opponent was at least third place on the Seven Islands, a quasi-legend. How could he dare to agree? Was he thinking that it wouldn't be a loss whether he won or lost? Is that so? Ji Xiong was surprised. Then when are you preparing to fight? The Phoenix Court said, anytime, but I can't agree to Lu Baijuan's request. His bet is that if he wins, he wants the phoenix fruit cultivated by the Phoenix God Society. Phoenix fruit! Upon hearing this bet, Ji Xiong's expression immediately became serious. She looked at Shi Yu and said, you want our Phoenix Shrine's phoenix fruit. It's not like it's something that can't be used as a bet, but what do you want it for? The phoenix fruit was a rare spiritual fruit that she had researched for 10 years with a plant-type pet with the phoenix bloodline and her own bloodline power. It could be called an exclusive secret manual. Not only could it give a specific human phoenix bloodline, but it could also purify the racial strength of the phoenix bloodline pet. It could be said to be the foundation of the Phoenix God Society. Even the witches here found it very difficult to obtain one. You probably don't want to become a hybrid beast tamer yourself, right? Ji Xiong of the Phoenix Court looked at the sickly Shi Yu and said. As long as a mixed-blood beast tamer could survive, their physical fitness, lifespan, and cultivation speed were a little stronger than ordinary beast tamers. Looking at Shi Yu's dead appearance, it wasn't impossible for him to have thoughts about mixed-blood bloodlines. How could that be? Shi Yu smiled and said, Miss Jie Yi has already told me the conditions to become a hybrid. I think if it's because a friend of mine has a pet with the bloodline of the phoenix, I heard that the phoenix fruit is a rare resource to increase the bloodline of the phoenix race. I want to give one to her. This saying was clearly more normal in everyone's ears. But soon, Jie Yi discovered the blind spot. A woman? She used love as a bet, but he was thinking about another woman? Although she originally didn't have any emotional foundation for Lu Bai, and only worshipped the strong, at this moment, the corners of the Phoenix Court's Jie Yi's mouth couldn't help but twitch. She clenched her fists and had the urge to beat Shi Yu up. It was decided. After defeating Shi Yu, she would date him for a day and immediately dump him to become a woman he could never have. Sure. At this moment, Ji Xiong from the Phoenix Court nodded and said, all right, if you can defeat Jie Yi, I'll give you a phoenix fruit. Thank you. Shi Yu was immediately excited when he heard that. A phoenix fruit. He wondered if Ling, Kai Tong, and baby ginseng could develop a replica through research. After researching it, he would give it to Senior Lu. If the research failed, it would be fine. Then let's fight now, the Phoenix Court said. The rules, double, is that acceptable? Double? Yes, Jie Yi said. Although she had contracted many pets, 2 of them were the strongest and had the best cooperation. At the same time, her beast taming talent's current limit was to stimulate the power of both pets at the same time. Therefore, the double rule was the most beneficial rule for her. Chapter 614, Secret Art of Time, 4. Chapter 614, Secret Art of Time, 4. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Since she wanted to defeat Shiyu, he naturally had to choose the rules that were most beneficial to her. Sure. Shiyu nodded. Is it really all right? Zheng Hai looked at Shiyu. Double. He didn't seem to know about Lu Bai's other pets apart from his ice element pet. Senior Ku also looked at Shiyu and judged that Shiyu probably wanted Mu Huain's heroic spirit to fight. In the form of that bird spirit, it could also be said to be a bird spirit. Although that form didn't have any characteristics of a sword spirit, it actually still had some characteristics of the Phoenix race. Was it all right? As Shiyu was going to fight the Phoenix Court, the Phoenix Shrine immediately prepared the venue. The venue was set in the Divine Vision domain of the shrine. This venue was turned into a battle venue domain with a divine gaze, representing absolute fairness. Among the witches of the Phoenix Court, Jie Yi was the one with the most outstanding experience and strength. She was the senior of all the witches here and the only one who had been accepted as a disciple by the legend of the Phoenix Court. The fact that she was fighting an outsider in the Divine Vision domain immediately attracted all the witches to watch the battle. This was also a tradition. The battle of the Divine Vision domain required the witches to watch as representatives of gods. Ah! How nice! In the Divine Vision domain, Zheng Hai looked at the 8 Phoenix witches around him and sighed. This Phoenix God Society was much better than his Binhai Dao field. If his training hall apprentices also changed from ugly fishing youths to water dancers wearing gorgeous swimsuits, their hair tied into a bun, and wearing various beautiful head accessories, the training hall might be able to have more funds for pet cultivation. Senior Jie Yi wants to fight. I know who her opponent is. It's that beast tamer from Dong Huang who passed the champion path. It's said that the Thousand River 100 Gods, Mr. Shandai, and the overlord of the Crown Rainbow Mountain Range couldn't even last one move against him. Stop discussing. The Divine Master is also here. Hurry up and tidy your appearance and sitting posture. The group of witches whispered to each other and discussed softly. They were all mixed-blood beast tamers with the bloodline of the Phoenix. Their strength ranged from the trainee level in their teens to the professional level and master level in their 20s. Coupled with the red and white witch clothes, their young and beautiful faces, as well as their red hair, red and orange eyes. They were very dazzling. At this moment, they were extremely curious. Not only were they curious about the recently rumored beast tamer of Dong Huang, Lu Bai, but they were also very curious about the outcome of the battle between him and Senior Jie Yi. Let's begin. In the Divine Vision domain, the Phoenix Court's Jie Yi, who was wearing a witch suit, looked at Shiyu calmly and took a deep breath. To be honest, the pressure Shiyu gave her was still very high. If she were to participate in the challenge of the path to champion, her results might not necessarily be better than Shiyu's. She might even lose to the 9th level and lose to the number 1 person below the legendary level, Shandai. However, she still wanted to fight. She was betting that Shiyu was only strong in one-on-one battles, but if he played doubles, his strength would gradually decrease. There were many such beast tamers who specialized in the cultivation of a certain pet, and they even only cultivated one pet. It was very common. For example, the current legendary Valkyrie of the 7 Islands had only contracted one pet, but who could say that she wasn't strong? One person and one pet could display the strength to crush top-notch totems. No one on the 7 Islands could defeat her. All right. Shiyu nodded. In the Divine Vision domain, the Divine Master Phoenix Court's Ji Srong, Dong Huang's Kuingzong, Zheng Hai, and the others were also paying attention to the battle between the 2 people below like those witches. There shouldn't be a problem. Seeing Shi Yu's calm appearance and Shi Yu's previous battle results, Senior Ku and Xinghai nodded. There was definitely no problem. Soon after looking at each other, Jie Yi directly summoned her pet. I set the rules. According to tradition, I'll send out my pet first. Her sleeves fluttered, and a black summoning array appeared in front of her. On the array was a dazzling red light, and a fiery aura spewed out. A huge tree slowly appeared. This was a huge tree that enveloped the arena after appearing. It was 20 meters tall. It had brown branches, green leaves, and fiery red flowers. The flames ignited by the flowers burned half the sky red. It was beautiful. In the flames, a huge red bird appeared and landed on the huge tree. Its entire body was also burning with flames. Its phoenix feathers were like flames as it stared at Shi Yu with a bright and dignified gaze. The leaves are the feathers of a flying phoenix, the flowers are the crown of a phoenix. My pets are the phoenix fire tree and the undying fire phoenix. It's your turn. After summoning the two powerful monarchs, Jie Yi looked at Shi Yu calmly. It's so beautiful. At this moment, Xinghai looked at the fiery red arena and the undying phoenix that landed on the phoenix fire tree. His eyes were lit up by the flames. It doesn't look like much now, but this phoenix court is a quasi-legend. After using the beast-taming talent, the two pets should become very strong, Xinghai analyzed. Even if it was a strengthening talent that had never been developed, it was not difficult for a level 7 beast tamer to increase the pet's energy level by 10 million. If it was some special talent, it would probably increase even more. Moreover, Jie Yi of the Phoenix Court was a hybrid. Moreover, her pet and her bloodline were the same. Who knew what bonuses there would be? Chapter 615, Secret Art of Time, 5. Chapter 615, Secret Art of Time, 5. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Are they all pets with the Phoenix bloodline? When Shi Yu saw this, he said regretfully, "You've already lost." What do you mean? As Shi Yu finished speaking, the expression of the Phoenix Court's Jie Yi changed. What a joke! Was he humiliating her? However, in the next moment, it was indeed the Phoenix Court that was shocked and realized the life and death crisis. No, even the expressions of the surrounding witches and the legend of the Phoenix Hall, the divine master of the Phoenix God Shrine, changed drastically. A huge purple array appeared in front of Shi Yu. Then, cold air condensed in the sky. Seeing this change, the Phoenix Court thought of the ice element pet immediately. The first pet Shi Yu summoned was indeed Susu. However, it was still Susu's mimicry. This time, Susu wasn't in a humanoid form anymore. Of course, it wasn't an ice slime either. Instead, through enlarging, it enlarged into the form of an ice phoenix that was even larger than the phoenix fire tree. The extreme cold cut through the sky filled with flames, almost freezing the entire battlefield. As the cold rose, the ice mist gradually faded, revealing a huge figure. It had beautiful blue feathers, and its wings seemed to be made of ice. On its head was a crown made of 3 dark blue prismatic ice crystal feathers, making it look like a king had descended. As the colorful flag-shaped long tail fluttered, snow lingered, forming a confrontation with the pet summoned by the Phoenix Court. This wasn't the reason why everyone's expressions changed drastically. This was just a very ordinary ice elemental mimicry. There was nothing strange about it. However, as a bird spirit wrapped in cold blue ghost flames flew out of the black summoning array, it flew and fused with the huge ice phoenix, causing its ice crystal wings, ice crystal crown, and ice tail to ignite the ice blue extreme cold flames. A terrifying deterrence erupted from the pet, shocking everyone. The time fruit was activated. Because of possession, Kai Tong and Susu enjoyed the enhancement of the time fruit at the same time and arrived at the Overlord level together. It was equivalent to the Overlord level Kai Tong and the Overlord level Susu. At the same time, due to the existence of Kai Tong's scapegoat, the explosive burden they suffered was all borne by the scapegoat. Boom! Right on the heels of that, with Kai Tong's mental strength as the main body, it reached perfection and displayed the might of a phoenix. This was Phoenix Might. Just like the supreme might of a dragon, the might of a phoenix was the bane of 100 birds. In a battle between races, the deterrence level was important. This was a decisive skill. Just like how Xia Qingwei's Ice Phoenix Moth couldn't develop battle awareness when facing Buggy's perfect level deterrence back then. At this moment, the deterrence level of the Phoenix Fire Tree and the Undying Fire Phoenix, which were far from transcendent, instantly constricted in the face of Kai Tong and Susu's combination skill, revealing incomprehensible shock. Kai Tong and Susu combined profundities. The dignity of the Ice Phoenix King. Boom! It wasn't just these two pets. At this moment, as Kai Tong and Susu erupted, the dignity of a king of the Overlord-level Phoenix race was revealed. Even the witches with the Phoenix bloodline like Jie Yi also felt a bloodline suppression that was even more terrifying than ordinary deterrence. In an instant, sweat flowed down the forehead of the Phoenix Court's Jie Yi before quickly freezing into ice crystals. The deterrence from her bloodline directly made her feel like she had fallen into an ice cave. Her body, spirit, will, and soul seemed to have been frozen and shattered by this Ice Phoenix King at this moment. Jew! Now, the Phoenix Fire Tree and the Undying Fire Phoenix, who were facing Kai Tong, Susu, and the others' joint deterrence bullying strategy, didn't even have the strength to resist before their consciousness instantly disappeared. Even at this moment, their beast tamers didn't have time to use their beast taming talent to increase and strengthen them. The Phoenix bloodline indeed allowed the Phoenix Court to have talent that exceeded ordinary beast tamers, but it also allowed her to obtain some weaknesses that ordinary beast tamers didn't have. For example, when she encountered a Phoenix pet with a very high deterrence level, she would instantly lose the ability to resist and the will to fight. In nature, unless she had the will of an overlord, it was very difficult for creatures to cross this kind of suppression that came from the bloodline and level of their own race. This was also one of the reasons why Shiyu was unwilling to become a hybrid. Boom! Under the strong deterrence, the Undying Phoenix directly fell from the sky and fell heavily to the ground. The flames ignited by the Phoenix Fire Tree also quietly extinguished, and the domain was silent. The Phoenix Court's Jie Yi blacked out and fell forward in shock. She half knelt on the ground and forcefully supported her body. Her mind was incomparably confused. How was this possible? What happened? They were actually scared out of their minds by this Lu Bai's pet's deterrence skill? Jie Yi! At this moment, the Divine Master of the Phoenix Divine Shrine, Ji Xiong of the Phoenix Court, suddenly stood up. At the same time, sweat flowed down her forehead. She also looked at the huge Ice Phoenix in shock and confusion. In an instant, she actually felt that her trump card, the Phoenix Pet, seemed to be only SOSO in front of this Ice Phoenix. She looked at Lu Bai in the domain in disbelief. She suddenly understood why Mr. Shandai, the #1 person below the Legends of the Seven Islands, and that Heavenly Cloud Tiger couldn't withstand a single move from him. This guy was a monster. Not only was his ice element pet ridiculously strong, but the mysterious bird spirit just now, the bird spirit that burned with the ice blue ghost fire, was also ridiculously strong. Its strength was definitely not weak. After all, it had transcendent deterrence. Even her pet had yet to master it. Chapter 616, Secret Art of Time, 6. Chapter 616, Secret Art of Time, 6. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Moreover, that deterrence wave couldn't be wrong. That was the Phoenix might. Only pets with the Phoenix bloodline could show the special deterrence that countered hundreds of birds. This guy had also contracted a pet of the Phoenix race. Was it that ice element pet or that bird spirit? Could the real race of that ice element pet be the ice element Phoenix? Could that bird spirit have been a Phoenix when it was alive? For a moment, Ji Xiong was a little confused and kept guessing. Senior Phoenix Court, with this. I won, right? At this moment, in the arena, Shiyu stretched out his hand. The Ice Phoenix King in the sky slowly shrank to the size of a sparrow that Kai Tong had when it just appeared. It landed in Shiyu's hand in the possession form of an ice blue mini phoenix. If Susu was in this state, even if it didn't rely on assassination, it could still fight the Overlord Tiger head-on for a few rounds and suppress the other party during this process. Even 11 would probably be quickly suppressed by the Kai-Su combination in this state. It couldn't be helped. It was shameless to use the time fruit in a 2v1. Ji-Slong from the Phoenix Court still found it unbelievable. She only felt that Shiyu was talking nonsense. She glanced at the half-conscious Jie from the Phoenix Court and at the surrounding audience. Although they weren't unconscious, they were seriously shocked. She felt that this Lu Bai was extremely ridiculous, because even her heart was thumping just now. Ji-Slong of the Phoenix Court looked at the disciples of Legend Ku and Tyrannical Sea Legend. What made her silent was that even the two companions of Lu Bai had their mouths slightly agape, as if they were very shocked by the scene in front of them. In other words, even his companions didn't know how strong this guy's true strength was. "You win," Ji-Slong of the Phoenix Court said. At the same time, she sat down again and said to the two people beside her, "With such strength, is he really just a top-notch master?" Even the two legendary new generation geniuses of the Seven Islands. In the opinion of Phoenix Court, she felt that they were slightly inferior to Lu Bai in that state just now. How could Legend Ku know that Shiyu was also so fierce? He didn't see the energy value that erupted in an instant just now, but it definitely far exceeded ordinary overlords. In addition, Shiyu didn't want to pretend anymore. This time, Shiyu and Lu Bai both had undead with the Phoenix bloodline. What if they were associated with it? Although the power system and undead form were still different, and the Phoenix undead wasn't a unique pet in Donghuang, Legend Ku still didn't know what Shiyu was thinking. In fact, Shiyu didn't use his full strength in the battle just now. Otherwise, the mental impact could even destroy the enemy's spirit. At this moment, only a moment later, the Phoenix Court's owner woke up in a daze. Then, she recalled in extreme confusion. In the end, she was stunned on the spot. She instantly recalled the scene of her and her pets falling into the other party's deterrence without any resistance. Then, her face turned pale. How was this possible? She dragged her heavy spirit and looked at Shiyu, who had retracted his pet. At this moment, Shiyu also looked at her in embarrassment and said, "In that case, thank you for the match." "That's Phoenix Might, your pet has the Phoenix bloodline. Is the friend you're talking about yourself?" Jie asked. Perhaps there was a possibility that Lu Bai wanted to give the spiritual fruit to her after winning the Phoenix fruit and give it to her as a gift to the Phoenix Court. Shiyu? What kind of strange focus was this? Ha 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 ha, we came at the wrong time. Just as the battle ended, the witches covered their foreheads with shocked expressions. Outside the Divine Vision domain, two people slowly walked over from the outside world. At the same time, a laughing old voice sounded. It was an old man with sunken eyes, no hair, a walking stick, and a face filled with wrinkles. Beside him was a female researcher. Like Shiyu, she looked sick. She was wearing a white coat, her brown hair was casually scattered, and her eyes were listless. She was about 40 to 50 years old. When Jie saw the two of them, her expression changed slightly. President of the island. Legend Xiao Yuan, she said to the two. He. I believe these are the guests from Donghuang, right? The old man raised his head and looked at Shiyu and the others. I am Yuan Yi of Temple Island, the president of the Beast Tamer Association of Red God Island. Welcome to Red God Island. Divine Master of the Phoenix Court, please don't mind my sudden disturbance. Ji-Slong's expression didn't change. Of course not. When the two of them arrived, Senior Kuingzong's gaze landed on the female researcher. The female researcher also looked at Kuingzong and said, Senior Ku, long time no see. Long time no see, Kuingzong said in surprise. These two people probably didn't come just to welcome them. The president of the Red God Island Association was a legendary beast tamer, and this legend Xiao Yuan was an archaeologist of the Seven Islands. He was one of the few top archaeologists on the Seven Islands who had the ability to listen to the voice of history. On the Seven Islands, there might not be 5 beast tamers with the listening talent, so this legend Xiao Yuan had a very high status on the Seven Islands. As a legendary archaeologist, Kuingzhou naturally knew the other party. President of the Temple Island, Legend Xiao Yuan. Why are you here? The Phoenix Court legend said. Ha ha ha. The president of the Temple Island laughed and said, look at what you're saying. Of course, we're here to see our honored guests from Dong Huang. I heard that Dong Huang's legend Ku, the disciple of the tyrannical sea legend, Zheng Hai, and the super genius, Master Lu Bai, who passed the path of the champion, are going to visit the Phoenix God Shrine. As landlords, we naturally have to visit some. Chapter 617, Secret Art of Time, 7. Chapter 617, Secret Art of Time, 7. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. It's rare for Legend Ku and the others to come over. I called Legend Xiao Yuan over to communicate. Everyone can gain more. Also, from the looks of it, was there a battle just now? The president of the island looked at Lu Bai and the Phoenix Court standing on the arena. Seeing that their faces were pale, he asked despite knowing the answer. Ji Xiong from the Phoenix Court chuckled in her heart. They were probably worried that Jie Yi wouldn't act according to the mission and wouldn't be able to keep Lu Bai. Probably, they were even more afraid that the Dong Huang exchange team would really obtain some benefits in the Phoenix Mystic Realm, so they came to supervise. Although the Phoenix Mystic Realm was protected by the Phoenix Divine Palace, just like Dong Huang, the Seven Islands also had relevant rules. The ownership of the ruins Mystic Realm in the country belonged to the country, so the Phoenix Mystic Realm was not the personal property of the Phoenix Divine Palace. At most, the Phoenix Court's Ji Xiong could get more resources as the Discoverer and Guardian. Over the years, the other factions of the Seven Islands also wanted to get a share of the Phoenix Mystic Realm. Unfortunately, the Phoenix Mystic Realm was not so easy to crack. As for the Phoenix Mystic Realm, it was also located on Red God Island. Therefore, if the Mystic Realm was cracked, the Red God Island Association would naturally be the greatest beneficiary. In this situation, knowing the bet between the Dong Huang Exchange Team and the Seven Islands Association, how could the president of the Red God Island Association sit still? He was afraid that the Dong Huang Exchange Team would crack the Phoenix Mystic Realm and take all the resources away, or that they couldn't crack this and lock onto the other ruins Mystic Realms of the Red God Island. In that case, he didn't know if the Phoenix Association would suffer a loss, but the Red God Island Association would suffer a huge loss. He had to think of a way to lure them to other islands. Lu Bai and Jie Yi fought, but from the outcome, it seems Jie Yi's cultivation isn't good enough, Ji Xiong said. Below, Jie Yi of the Phoenix Court also didn't expect the difference between her and Lu Bai to be so huge, to the point where it was unimaginable. Unless her pet broke through to Overlord as soon as possible, she might not be able to cross this gap. Did Jie Yi lose? The president of the island was silent. But from the looks of it, Dong Huang's guest hasn't started exploring the Phoenix Mystic Realm. Yeah. Shiyu looked at the old man, wanting to see what he was saying. President Shi said, there's nothing to explore in this lousy Mystic Realm. Ji Xiong and Jie Yi of the Phoenix Court? It's almost been studied by the Divine Master of the Phoenix Court. One needs to have mixed blood to be qualified to cause changes in the Mystic Realm. Moreover, it's only a mere change. It's very difficult to crack it. It requires a very high concentration of bloodline. I'm afraid it's already difficult to achieve in this era. I know that there's an unsolved legendary ruin on Star Sea Island with a long history. Its exploration value is extremely high. Legend Xiao Yuan beside me has explored that place before. She might be able to give you some advice. Shiyu, Legend Ku, and Jing Hai. This old man was very bad. Wasn't it just because they didn't want them to explore the ruins Mystic Realm on Red God Island? It was too obvious. Legend Xiao Yuan pushed up her glasses. To be honest, she didn't want these guys from Dong Huang to obtain benefits from any of the Seven Islands ruins. It was the same for Red God and Xingye. If the ruins and Mystic Realm of the Seven Islands were dug away by the archaeologists of Dong Huang, she was very worried that she would do something rash. By the way, suddenly, Shiyu in the crowd said, the Phoenix Mystic Realm should be in the back mountain of the Divine Temple, right? What's wrong? Legend Xiao Yuan looked at this beautiful young man with hair, pale face, and weak tone. She wanted to punch him to see if he could fall. This was Dong Huang's genius who had swept away the path of champion. The world was really big, and there were all kinds of strange things. When I was fighting just now, I seemed to feel that something was calling to me. It seemed to be the Phoenix Mystic Realm. The bet agreement has already taken effect, and the time has already started. If I crack the Phoenix Mystic Realm, the resources inside will all be mine, right? Shiyu pretended to be in deep thought. With one hand as a palm and the other as a fist, he patted gently and looked up. Phoenix Court Ji Shlong, Phoenix Court Jie Yi, the many witches, the president of Temple Island, Legend Xiao Yuan. What did he say? Did he faint from exhaustion? What was he thinking? The Mystic Realm was calling him? Senior Ku widened his eyes. Was it coming? Had he sensed it? That secret time power history thing? Zheng Hai blinked, confused. Chapter 618, 1 Mythical, 2 Legendaries. Chapter 618, 1 Mythical, 2 Legendaries. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Shiyu suddenly spoke, making everyone look at him. The Phoenix Mystic Realm was calling him? What a joke! What do you mean? The Divine Master of the Phoenix Court stood on the high platform with a burning gaze. Legend Xiao Yuan, an archaeologist from the Seven Islands, also frowned and looked at Shiyu. What nonsense was this guy talking about? Did he think he had a listening talent? The Mystic Realm was calling it? What did you hear? Legend Xiao Yuan asked. It's also possible that I'm dizzy from exhaustion. I got a little absent-minded. Shiyu shook his head slightly. To be precise, it seemed to be calling Kai Tong. After sending Kai Tong out to fight just now, the Mystic Realm in front was even more attractive to Kai Tong. This attraction, in Kai Tong's strange metaphor, seemed to be like that show Little Tiger Returning Home, or The Temptation to Go Home. In any case, there was definitely something from the bloodline that attracted Kai Tong in the Mystic Realm. Everyone. Senior Phoenix Court, I won the battle, right? At this moment, Shiyu stopped thinking about the Mystic Realm and repeated the battle results. Upon hearing Shiyu repeat it a second time, Ji Xiong's expression darkened. There was no need to repeat it so many times. I understand. Ji Xiong immediately understood what Shiyu meant and waved at Shiyu with an unfriendly expression. In the next moment, a phoenix fruit in her spatial equipment, a special fruit that looked like a phoenix pear but had red skin and leaves, flew towards Shiyu. Shiyu directly raised his arm and caught the phoenix pear. Phoenix fruit, with one hand. He scanned it through the third index, which was the invisible lens in his eyes. There was no information. However, it could be judged by the energy level. It was a level 7 resource. It was filled with the power of fire. Even if she wanted to give it the Phoenix bloodline, she would probably make it to the Fire Phoenix bloodline, just like the Phoenix Court, so she was a fire element pet. At the same time, even if it could increase the strength of the Phoenix pet bloodline, it had to be from the fire element Phoenix race. As for Senior Lu's green Phoenix, it was wind element. It looked like if she couldn't develop a mutation, it was useless. For Kai Tong, there was no need for this thing. After all, Kai Tong's bloodline was top-notch even in the Phoenix race. Apart from divine-level bloodlines, Kai Tong's bloodline was the highest level. This thing naturally couldn't have any effect on Kai Tong. This is... At this moment, the president of the Red God Association and Legend Xiao Yuan, who he had invited, were immediately stunned when they saw the fruit in Shiyu's hand. He quickly understood that there was most likely a bet in the battle just now. As for the winning item of Shiyu's battle, it was the core resource of the Phoenix God Shrine, the Phoenix Fruit. Lost again, at this moment, after confirming that the number 3 of the Seven Islands World Tournament had also lost to Lu Bai, the president of the island and Legend Xiao Yuan were a little silent. Although this was very normal. After all, if they fought with all their might, the Phoenix Court Jie might not necessarily win against the Demon Blade God generation, but battles couldn't be generalized like this. After all, fire countered ice. It was very normal for different beast tamers to have different wins and losses. And now, apart from the two legendary contestants of the Seven Islands, Lu Bai had tortured both the older and new generations. This was undoubtedly a huge blow to the beast tamers of the Seven Islands. Thank you, I'll take it. At this moment, Shiyu smiled. He directly put away the phoenix fruit through the ruined space. With his current trump cards, he didn't mind showing his spatial equipment. At the same time, he looked in the direction of the back mountain of the Phoenix Shrine and said, "Next, can we take a look over there? I keep feeling that there's something I care about." "Next, we want to take a look at the Phoenix Mystic Realm," Kuingzong said. Regarding this request, the president of the Temple Island, Legend Xiao Yuan, and the Divine Master of the Phoenix Court were silent. Usually, they were naturally unwilling to let outsiders explore the unsolved mystic realm protected by the Seven Islands. However, the Seven Islands Association and the Dong Huang Association had signed a bet contract. At this moment, they had no right to stop Dong Huang from exploring the ruins mystic realm of the Seven Islands. Of course, the Phoenix Court god said. "He really won't give up until the end," the president of the island said with a headache. Damn Dong Huang, obediently go to the next island and explore any other island. Although he didn't think that the Dong Huang exchange team could crack the Phoenix Mystic Realm, President Shi was still unhappy. It was as if his girlfriend was being peeked at. "Ji, prepare to enter the Divine Realm," Ji Xiong said. "Yes, teacher." At this moment, Jie Yi had already recovered from the deterrence. Her mind gradually calmed down, but she still felt a lingering fear as she looked at Shiyu with a complicated expression. This Lu Bai was stronger and much more terrifying than she imagined. He had more than one legendary powerful pet. Apart from the legendary Ice Element pet, he also had at least one other pet that was very terrifying and could fight against overlords. At this moment, Jie Yi understood why the higher-ups and teachers of the Seven Islands wanted her to befriend Lu Bai. At the same level, even the two legends from the Seven Islands might not necessarily be Lu Bai's match. For such a genius, legendary level was only inevitable. This terrifying beast-taming strength was like an unreachable throne. It was probably very difficult to conquer him from the beast-tamer perspective. Perhaps he's really not interested in me. Jie Yi thought a lot in an instant, and then a will to not admit defeat appeared. Chapter 619, 1 Mythical, 2 Legendaries, 2. Chapter 619, 1 Mythical, 2 Legendaries, 2. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. As Shiyu put away the phoenix fruit and looked at the Phoenix Mystic Realm again, the Phoenix Court's Jie Yi woke up. At the same time, she had a strong hostility towards the female friend with the Phoenix bloodline that Shiyu mentioned. So, the reason why this Lu Bai was not interested in her was because there was another female beast tamer who was better than her and stronger. Who was it? Divine Realm. It was where the Phoenix Mystic Realm was. After the Phoenix Court's Jie Yi recovered, she brought thousands of thoughts and the other witches who had yet to recover from their shock to lead Dong Huang and the others, as well as the president of Temple Island, to the back mountain of the Phoenix Divine Temple to visit the Phoenix Mystic Realm. Even the ground was red. Not to mention the fiery red spiritual plants all over the mountain. This was indeed a holy land for Phoenix pets, especially fire element Phoenix type pets. Actually, the entire back mountain is the Phoenix Mystic Realm. After arriving, the Divine Master of the Phoenix Court said calmly, "Back then, I accidentally entered the Phoenix Mystic Realm here. At that time, this place was still an ordinary green forest, but after time passed, the environment had already been turned into this by the Mystic Realm after a long time." She looked at everyone and said, "Let's go." "I've actually always been curious about something," Kuingzong said. Legend of the Phoenix Court, did you hear or see some strange voices and scenes when you accidentally entered the Phoenix Mystic Realm? According to what I know, you also have a telepathy talent. The special use of the telepathy talent was not a secret among legends. Upon hearing this question, Ji Xiong from the Phoenix Court smiled. "You mean the listening talent?" "Unfortunately, I don't know either. Because before I entered the Mystic Realm, I fainted. When I woke up, I was already in the mystic realm. From what I know, my talent has never shown anything special. It's all because you're too obsessed with the Phoenix mystic realm. Legend Xiao Yuan chuckled and said, if you want to become a top archaeologist, you have to learn universal love. If this mystic realm ignores you, then change your research. A person like you won't understand, the Divine Master of the Phoenix Court said coldly. As the legendary Big Boss spoke, the group of witches beside him didn't dare to interrupt. Heh. Legend Xiao Yuan shook her head and looked at Shi Yu, who was in deep thought, confused, weak, and surprised. Kid, your expression changes quite a lot. Do you want to say that you heard something again? Shi Yu looked at the members of Bureau 11 of the Seven Islands and shook his head. At this moment, Kai Tong could already confirm that it had already overlapped with the mystic realm. However, at this moment, Kai Tong didn't feel how it should open the mystic realm. As for the mystic realm, he didn't take the initiative to open it either. What should he do next? Shi Yu was thinking about this. Then what about you, Senior Ku? Legend Xiao Yuan chuckled and said, you're a senior in the archaeological world. Have you thought of any other ways to open the mystic realm apart from relying on the key of the Phoenix hybrid? Senior Ku smiled and said, aren't you asking the obvious? For Ruin's mystic realms with exact rules, following the rules is the only way. Apart from that, it's to crack it violently, but this clearly won't work. This looks like a very high-level mystic realm. Moreover, even if we open the Phoenix mystic realm, it's useless. The Divine Master of the Phoenix Court had a calm expression. Because this is an inheritance-type Ruin's mystic realm. The interior of the mystic realm is filled with endless flames. The deeper you go, the more pain from the burning of the bloodline. Therefore, even if the mystic realm is opened, as long as there aren't enough rich Phoenix mixed bloods, you can't take away the core resources, Ji Xiong said. This was also why she had been researching how to increase her bloodline and try her best to create a Phoenix hybrid. It was so that after the mystic realm opened, she could enter the core area of the mystic realm one day. Ha, Legend Ku, did you hear that? This kind of Ruin's mystic realm with clear cracking rules is the most difficult. The president of the island shook his head and said. As he listened to everyone's conversation, Shi Yu gradually had an idea. Who tilde. Who tilde. Just as the president of the Temple Island finished speaking, Shi Yu raised his hand. A purple summoning array appeared in his palm. Kai Tong, who had been summoned in the battle just now, landed on the back of Shi Yu's hand in the form of a blue bird spirit filled with ice blue ghost flames. Kai Tong shook its hair and looked around. Seeing Shi Yu suddenly summon his pet, everyone looked over again. Especially the witches of the Phoenix God Shrine and the legendary Divine Master of the Phoenix Court, who looked at the blue bird spirit solemnly. Even Zheng Hai widened his eyes and sized up the bird spirit. This was the pet that had possessed the Ice Phoenix just now. Although the feeling it gave was that its aura wasn't strong, and from its appearance, it was only SOSO, everyone knew that this was only its appearance. This pet was definitely very strong. Tilde. Suddenly, little Kai Tong, who was summoned by Shi Yu, cried out helplessly. Under Shi Yu's request, it cried out helplessly. The Divine Master of the Phoenix Court and Legend Xiao Yuan wanted to hear what it was calling. Because they had the gift of telepathy, they realized that this bird spirit had sealed its mental fluctuations and didn't want them to hear it. Chapter 620, 1 Mythical, 2 Legendary, 3. Chapter 620, 1 Mythical, 2 Legendary, 3. Translator, Atlas Studios. Editor, Atlas Studios. Damn it, encryption? Was it something embarrassing? Mom, I'm back. Open the door. Mom, open the door. At this moment, everyone looked at Shi Yu, who had suddenly summoned the blue bird spirit who started to cry. They were confused. Only Shi Yu suddenly revealed an extremely abnormal expression. Because he had already clearly sensed the feasibility of doing this. Just as everyone from the Phoenix Shrine, the two legends, as well as Zheng Hai were extremely stunned, the world suddenly changed. Shiyu's mouth opened slightly and he said silently to himself. Exactly as planned. Boom! With a bang that was like a volcano erupting, the entire ground of Phoenix Mountain suddenly cracked, making Jisong's expression change drastically, and also making the expressions of every witch in the Phoenix Divine Temple change drastically. Who? In the cracked ground, space overlapped, and fiery red light spread, emitting a shocking heat. The rumbling wave instantly made the entire mountain collapse. The shock wave emitted by the mountain even spread out with a bang, causing a strong vibration in the huge area with the Phoenix God Shrine at the center. Earthquake! Boom! Countless buildings in the Phoenix God Society collapsed, making the witches open their mouths wide. It also made Jisong and the Phoenix Court open their mouths wide. The shrine collapsed. The president of the island and Legend Xiao Yuan were even more stunned. Of course, the most stunned at this moment was still Zheng Hai, who didn't react at all. His gaze was stunned and his expression was blank. On the other hand, Senior Ku, who was beside him, couldn't bear to look at it. He didn't expect the descent of the Phoenix Mystic Realm to be so big. This was going to be difficult. What happened? The violent change shocked the president of the island and Legend Xiao Yuan. In the next moment, everyone here felt the gradually rising heat. This heat further made everyone's expressions change. Yes, the Phoenix Mystic Realm and reality have overlapped. Jisong was the first to discover the change and immediately said with a shocked expression. What? Jisong's words also shocked the witch sect, President Shi, and the others. At the same time, in the outside world, although the Phoenix God Shrine was located in a remote area, due to the huge fluctuations of the descent of the Mystic Realm, the entire Phoenix Mountain had already become a burning cloud. As strong energy fluctuations and vibrations, as well as the red phenomenon in the sky, many beast tamers from the 7 islands in the distance could see the shocking change from the Phoenix Divine Temple as long as they raised their heads. Their gazes were stunned. After being stunned, they quickly rushed in the direction of the change. Including the headquarters of the Red God Island Association, they immediately detected this energy wave that exceeded 100 million, like a powerful energy reaction of a totem descending. On Phoenix Mountain, flames rose. Now, the area where Shiyu and the others were was already covered in flames. Of course, this place had just entered the range of the Mystic Realm. It was the outermost flame, so it couldn't hurt everyone yet. The most terrifying thing was the energy fluctuations and temperature coming from the core area of the Phoenix Mystic Realm at the top of Phoenix Mountain. That was where the core resources of the Phoenix Mystic Realm were. As the Phoenix Mystic Realm descended, the Divine Master of the Phoenix Court, Legend Xiao Yuan, and even the President of the island were stunned for a moment before quickly reacting. Among them, the archaeologist of the 7 islands, Legend Xiao Yuan, directly summoned a huge black crow. Lightning flickered on the crow's body. Legend Xiao Yuan directly leaped up and headed straight for the core resource. This wave can't be wrong. At least 2 legendary-level resources, and even a mythical-level resource. Legend Xiao Yuan shouted in her heart, but as she approached the core area of the Phoenix Mystic Realm, the heat wave that erupted with a bang was like the rising sun in the core area of the sun. A terrifying power that even totems, no, even top-notch totems, feared greatly suddenly made Legend Xiao Yuan and her Thunder Crow, who were charging straight for the core resource, feel only a trace of threat. Their pupils immediately constricted and they gave up advancing. The aftermath of the rising power directly sent them flying. Idiot! Seeing this, Jisong of the Phoenix Court in the distance cursed coldly. She remembered that she had reminded them that the core of the Mystic Realm was not something ordinary beast tamers could approach at all. Only a Phoenix hybrid could avoid burning. No, even if it was a Phoenix hybrid, if its compatibility with this Mystic Realm was insufficient, it would still be blocked. She was like this back then. She couldn't obtain the 3 most precious resources at the core of the Mystic Realm no matter what. Ju, with a scream, the Thunder Crow, whose hair was almost burned, and Legend Xiao Yuan, who was on its body, landed on the spot miserably. Legend Xiao Yuan relied on her etherealization ability to dodge a life-and-death crisis. However, even space was directly burned just now, directly pushing her to the gates of hell. Damn it! Legend Xiao Yuan also cursed in a low voice. She couldn't tolerate the disappointment of being unable to take away mythical and legendary resources in front of her. That temperature is very difficult to pass even for totem level, no, even top-notch totems. Don't act rashly, the Phoenix Court Divine Master said. The owner of this mystic realm was definitely a demigod-level existence. She was very sure. What exactly is going on? The president of the island was stunned and pleasantly surprised. He was pleasantly surprised that the Phoenix mystic realm had actually opened. He was stunned that he didn't know how it opened. Of course, there was also shock. Seeing the miserable state of Legend Xiao Yuan, he immediately knew that the resources of this ruins mystic realm were not so easy to obtain.